is a Chamber of Commerce day here in Palm Beach County as we welcome you to the ballpark of the Palm Beaches, where this afternoon the Houston Astros welcome in the New York Yankees, who made the trip across the state from Tampa, Florida. Hi, everybody, and welcome. Todd Callis alongside Jeff Blum. We welcome you to this Sunday broadcast as the Astros lately, Blummer, solid. You never know in spring training, but solid with 4 wins in a row.
Yeah, it's been kind of crazy. A.J. Hinch working with that skeleton crew that we keep talking about. But Super Jack coming through the other day on our last broadcast. So it's kind of fun to see these young guys go out there. But winning, no matter spring training, postseason, regular season, always a good feeling.
Super Jack Mayfield with a 2 RBI walk-off a couple of games ago. Back-to-back 5-4 wins for the Astros. And today, to the mound goes Lance McCullers Jr.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to watch Lance go out there and do his job. But it's nice, too, because we just saw Dallas Keuchel on the last telecast go out there, go 4 innings strong, do what he does. But now Lance McCullers in that situation, too. These guys are starting to ramp up. Lance has got that brilliant right arm with the fastball, power, curveball mix. He has been striking guys out here in spring, doing a great job. But they want to see him be a little more economical. We'll talk about it a little bit more, but that fastball in the zone is going to be huge.
So we're getting ready for baseball on this Sunday. The New York Yankees have brought a lot of their regulars to town as they will play the Nationals in back-to-back games here at the ballpark of the Palm Beaches tomorrow. It's the Astros and the Yankees right around the corner. We will hear from Julia Morales next. Houston Astros baseball on Roost Sports is presented by Whataburger. Whataburger's Buffalo Ranch Sandwich has returned, but only for a limited time. Beautiful day here at the ballpark of the Palm Beaches as we get ready for the first pitch between the Astros and
20 seconds.
Astros and the Yankees. Time now to check in with Julia Morales.
We ready to go? Are we on air yet?
Yep, we've got pitching coach Brent Strom getting ready as he's trying to photobomb my live shot there. Welcome in, Lance McCullers Jr. facing the New York Yankees today. And Lance coming off a season where he suffered not only shoulder but elbow injuries, limiting him to just 81 pitches. So a very specific plan was set for Lance this spring training as he got in and trying to strengthen as he amped up for 2017. And a couple of things that are new for him this spring: arm motion, something we'll break down not only today but throughout the season as he gets more consistent with that, tweaking that, trying to stay on the field this year. Another thing, the changeup. More of a split last year, changed his grip to a circle change this year, and that's something A.J. Hinch, his manager, wants to see a lot of today. Also his fastball. We know how confident he can be in that curveball, that breaking ball that's been so good for him, but they'd like to see him improve on those pitches as well. And I toss this up to Jeff Blum in the booth. What else can Lance McCullers do to take that next step?
I appreciate it, Julia, and that's great stuff. And spring training is always an opportunity for guys to go out there and work on things. But you are going to see The percentage of 0-1 counts that turn into 0-2 counts is an A+ for Lance McCullers. The trouble is, if you look at the bottom, first pitch strike percentage, not so good. And I think that's why Brent Strom and the Astros are working on the mechanics, make him more consistent, like Julia was saying, because that release point will become more consistent with the fastball and allow him to get that fastball in the zone early, because when he gets ahead in those 0-1, 0-2 type counts, we know how unbelievable that breaking ball is. He talks about his spin rate. It is a power breaking ball, and it is a swing and miss breaking ball, which allow him to get to these strikeouts that he needs.
Those grades courtesy of Inside Edge. The other thing we saw, the first pitch strike is a C, but then second or 2 out of 3 pitches in the strike zone, he's up to a B. So even if he falls behind 1-0 because of that breaking ball, he can get back in the count in a hurry.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing, and it's one of those odd rarities, I guess, in a guy that actually has better command of his breaking ball rather than the fastball.
Let's take a look at the Toyota keys to today's game.
And our Toyota keys of the game for Lance McCullers is fastball command. Get ahead early. Once he gets ahead with that fastball, then he can work off of that with the curveball changeup. The changeup that Julie was talking about, all in spring training, is throwing that thing in counts where he would want to use it in order to get more comfortable with it. And the mechanical adjustments that Brent Strom had worked into Lance McCullers is going to do a couple of things: make him more consistent with his delivery and hopefully nurture some of that health to allow him to go out there and give the Astros 30 to 35 starts. If he goes out and does that, it's going to be a great year for him and the Houston Astros.
And he's getting to see a lot of regulars in the Yankees lineup today. The Yankees in town for 2 straight days. They will play the Nationals here in West Palm Beach tomorrow. Brett Gardner leads off. He's in left field. Aaron Hicks, switch hitting center fielder, bats second. Greg Bird having a monster season this spring. He's at first base, hitting third. Matt Holliday, the 7-time All-Star, comes over to the Yankees. He'll DH. Chase Headley is at third base. Aaron Judge, the big right fielder. Ronald Torreyes is the second baseman. Kyle Higashioka is the catcher, and Tyler Wade is the shortstop. Adam Warren will be on the mound today for the New York Yankees. The Yankees are in town, and A.J. Hinch is looking on with his team just 1 game below 500 now. With a record of 9 wins, 10 losses, and 2 ties. The Yankees have the best record in all of baseball this spring, Grapefruit League or Cactus League. Joe Girardi's group is off to a 16-6 start.
Playing behind Lance McCullers, you're going to take a look at the Astros defense. Josh Reddick, normally in right field, will be playing left field today. George Springer in center. Teoscar Hernandez in right. Across the infield, J.D. Davis getting the start at third base with Colin Moran playing shortstop. Marwin Gonzalez, the utility man, at second base today. Yulieski Gurriel getting comfortable at first. And, of course, Brian McCann back there working with Lance McCullers, just trying to work on that relationship.
Working on the relationship, and he already has an established relationship with Brett Gardner and a lot of these guys in the lineup today for the New York Yankees, as they had a small conversation along with Angel Hernandez getting ready for the first pitch of this game. Lance McCullers, in his 3rd spring start, delivers a strike to start this game. See what Gardner did last year, played almost the entire year. He and Jacoby Ellsbury, the table setters for the New York Yankees.
And I think right about now there's a conversation between Lance McCullers and Brian McCann as far as what pitch to throw in this situation. And that's what McCann's got to get used to with Lance McCullers, along with the other pitchers, is when they feel comfortable throwing certain pitches.
There you see McCann getting another start behind the plate for the Astros. Evan Gattis in the lineup as the DH. Line drive into right field that will fall for a base hit in front of Teoscar Hernandez. So Brett Gardner is a leadoff base runner, and as you may be able to hear in the background, a lot of Yankee fans are in town. They used to train on the East Coast, and they have a chance to watch their Yankees here today at West Palm Beach.
Todd talking about table setters. Gardner is definitely that guy, and this was a changeup from Lance McCullers. Probably not in the ideal location, but a good count to throw it in. It was in the strike zone. Just a better job of hitting by Brett Gardner.
McCullers Jr. first start against St. Louis, mid-20s in pitch count, 2 perfect innings, 3 strikeouts. Then he really had to work against the New York Mets in 3 innings of action, struck out 6, almost got through those 3 innings without allowing a run, but it was a changeup that was left up, and Yoenis Cespedes made it a 2-run home run. So, but this is the time for Lance as you mentioned, to really figure out how to use and when to use that changeup.
Yeah, and we've talked about some of the hitters making adjustments, having some success. With Lance, you've got to be a little bit more patient with that changeup because you're not going to see the immediate success, and you don't want him to get discouraged. So it has a lot to do with him probably going to the video, watching and seeing where the release point is, and talking it out with Brent Strom in order to make it a better pitch.
Aaron Hicks was ready to ambush that fastball and hooked it into the crowd. 0-1.
Yeah, we like to call that a turbo hook. That's getting a little too aggressive early on.
McCullers Jr. probably up to about 70 pitches today. See how far that takes him along on this perfect afternoon. We mentioned a lot of Yankees fans are in town. It's probably the best crowd we have seen so far for a spring game.
Well, the two teams on the field and the amazing conditions they're playing in right now make it ideal for fans.
Little bunt down the third baseline. It is a beauty. That is a base hit for Hicks. J.D. Davis just had to pick it up and eat it. Nothing he could do. And the Yankees have the first two runners aboard this afternoon.
Seeing some adversity early for Lance McCullers. You couldn't have rolled this out there any better. But again, when you're trying to bunt, you see a breaking ball. It gives you a little bit extra time to kind of focus on where it is, lay it down perfectly. J.D. Davis playing a little bit deeper in that one strike count.
So 2 men on, nobody out, and here's Greg Bird. With Mark Teixeira retiring after the 2016 season, Bird set to take over at first base, and he is having a monster spring, hitting .438 with a team-high 4 home runs. There's a fastball for a called strike, 95. Highest velo of the afternoon so far for Lance McCullers. Breaking ball, called strike, 0-2.
Just kind of a get me over for Lance McCullers. It's always interesting to me. We talk about how spring is a little more lax and guys are making adjustments, going out there and pitching. All of a sudden you've got 2 guys on. That changes the mindset instantly because guys know what their ERAs are. They know what their batting averages are. They know how many runs they've driven in.
And even early on, it seemed like McCullers and McCann were not always on the same page, even with the first 2 hitters. So Lance is obviously shaking at times, which is a little unusual this early, especially in a spring game. But Brian knows these hitters, but Lance also knows how he wants to work these hitters.
Yeah, it's one thing to know the hitter's strengths and weaknesses as well as McCann does, but at the same time, Lance knows what his strengths are too.
1-2 pitch is ripped foul.
Off-speed pitches are catching a lot of the zone for me. It's a 2-strike breaking ball, and we talked about the swing and miss percentage on that slider slash curveball from Lance McCullers, but really no adjustment to be made by Bird because it came right back into his barrel.
Bird, 24-year-old. And McCullers steps off. Lance's previous 2 starts against National League teams, the Cardinals and the Mets. There's the curveball. There's a swing and a miss. And the first out of the afternoon is recorded via the strikeout for Lance McCullers.
Good breaking ball. This is one we keep talking about. Really threw that one hard. Put that down and in. Get the swing over the top. Good pitch.
And that's really the power curveball that he picks up almost all of his strikeouts on, a high percentage of his strikeouts. And he actually throws the curveball, or did last year, more than the fastball.
Yeah, and I don't think the expectation with the changeup coming in there is to be that pitch that he's going to go after guys and try and get the punch out. I think it's just another wrinkle in the repertoire of Lance McCullers to turn it into a 33% chance of knowing what he's throwing. He's going to put guys away with that breaking ball. I don't think there's any secret about that.
His swing and miss percentage with that pitch is amongst the best in baseball. Now he'll face the cleanup hitter, Matt Holliday. Holliday, 37-year-old designated hitter, joining the Yankees after 7.5 seasons with the St. Louis Cardinals. High pop-up, shallow outfield, deep infield. Colin Moran is the only one near it, and the infield fly rule is invoked, but Moran stays with it to put it away for out number 2.
That's good news for Lance. Did a good job of leaving base runners on last year. There were some games where you felt like he was pitching out of damage every single inning, but again, it goes back to what we talked about briefly in the open, is that he had a tough time getting ahead of hitters. That fastball command.
You're absolutely right about that. We showed you on our inside edge graphic the percentage of strikes with a breaking ball. We didn't show you the percentage of strikes with a fastball because it needs some work, and hopefully that will get a better grade this year than it did last year. And that's something AJ and Lance are well aware of. Headley into left center field, a rocket that's going to go all the way to the wall. Chase Headley drives home Brett Gardner. Around third comes Aaron Hicks. He's going to score, and the Yankees jump out 2-0 on the Chase Headley 2 RBI double.
See the location on that fastball. You see Brian McCann set up inside, leaked back up out over the middle of the plate. Chase Headley doing what a veteran hitter should do, just go with it. He has enough pop to drive it through that left center field gap. A couple of burners on the base paths too with Gardner and Hicks. Score easy.
Now McCullers will deal with the big right fielder, Aaron Judge.
Barely notice him.
You can barely see him, right?
Jeez.
This guy began his big league career with a home run last year.
Yeah, that's pretty much a center cut fastball right there. Good job of Headley keeping his head down on it. You see what a lot of hitting coaches these days call attack angle. Getting the barrel of the baseball. Yeah, TV doesn't really do Aaron Judge justice as far as size is concerned.
No, if Brian McCann stands up, you'll have a chance to see. But this is a large human being who happened to hit 4 home runs last year and struggled with contact at times for the Yankees, but he has got as much power potential as anybody in baseball. Not named Giancarlo Stanton. There's a called strike. 1-2. Judge and Aaron Hicks kind of battling it out for that third outfield spot. You know, one guy who's a switch hitter, more of a contact guy with speed, and this guy was right-hand hitter, all power. Chop past the mound, and the second baseman, Marwin Gonzalez, will make the play for the final out. But Yankees score 2 on the Chase Headley double. Astros coming to bat.
Astros 2-0 going into the bottom of the first in the Astros home opener Monday, April 3rd against the Mariners, and tickets are on sale now. Don't miss your chance to see the 2017 season begin at Minute Maid Park by calling 1-877-9-ASTROS or by visiting astros.com/opening day. I am excited to be there.
2 weeks from tomorrow.
Man, it's going to be good.
2 weeks from tomorrow.
Opening day is going to be against one of the Western Division rivals, so that's going to be a good one.
And we don't see the West the whole spring, so looking forward to checking them out once the season begins. Here's the Astros lineup with George Springer, most at-bats of anybody this spring thus far. He will lead things off for Houston. Marwin Gonzalez plays second base today. Josh Reddick in left. Evan Gattis is the DH. Brian McCann behind the plate. We've seen him. Yuli Gurriel at first base. Colin Moran having a very nice spring. The shortstop, J.D. Davis, has had his share of hits. He's at third, and Teoscar Hernandez in right field.
Astros will be facing right-hander Adam Warren. Competition for a spot in that rotation. We know Severino's in the mix too, but some good young arms for Joe Girardi to try and fit into the back into that rotation. Take a look at some of Warren's numbers. Pitched primarily out of that bullpen, but getting the opportunity here in spring training to earn his way into that starting role.
Starts out George Springer with a strike, and now it's 1-1. See what Springer did last year, playing all 162 games, getting his share of ABs this spring as well. This is his 40th at bat. He pops it high in the air, foul territory, and first baseman Greg Bird calls off the catcher and makes the play. Higashioka was looking at it for a while, but the first baseman records the out, and Springer retired, one away. Adam Warren last year with the Cubs for the beginning of the year. He was traded to Chicago from the New York Yankees, where he had spent his entire career. And that was the trade where New York acquired Starlin Castro from Chicago. But then, right before the trade deadline, as Joe Girardi looks on, a 4-for-1 player move as Aroldis Chapman moves from the Yankees to the Cubs. And Adam Warren, one of the 4 players in return, going back to his original team, and happy to do so. There's Marwin Gonzalez taking a called strike, 0-1. Warren never really got comfortable in Chicago, and this is where everybody knows him, and this is where he grew up, and he's hoping to be a starter in the rotation, but he also knows if it doesn't work out, he can be that guy like Chris Stavinsky, who gives them innings out of the bullpen.
I agree, and he's got good enough stuff. Just a matter of pacing himself out of that starting role. Sometimes you see guys move into that bullpen knowing they don't have to try and go 6 innings, don't have to pace themselves, air it out a little bit. But here early on in the first 2 hitters, it looks like he has a pretty good cutter going today.
Misses away. It's 1-2. Throws that almost as much as he throws the regular 4-seam fastball. He'll mix in a change and a curveball as well. Warren and Luis Severino, who we'll see later today, are 2 of the 5 candidates, along with Luis Cessa, Chad Green, and Brian Mitchell for that 4 and 5 spot in the Yankees rotation. Marwin Gonzalez with a count of 2-2.
How about Marwin going with the old school white shoes?
Yeah.
It's like mid-'80s for the Houston Astros with the rainbow unis.
It's got a Cesar Cedeno flair to it.
Like it. Good call.
I don't know if that's what they were looking for.
Swing and a miss. Might have been a little changeup away as Gonzalez goes down for the second out. First strikeout for Adam Warren.
Yeah, it looked like he pulled the string on Marwin. A second look on that. You see the 3 fingers off the outside of the baseball kind of create that tailing motion away from the hitter.
Warren's a guy who now lives in Tampa. Some Yankees have ended up making their home in the Tampa, Florida area with their spring training site there and also their Class A affiliate. Here's Josh Reddick getting a start in left field today. Place that he is acclimating to as the spring continues. In on the hands of Josh, it's 1-1. Pitch misses. It's 2-1. Adam Warren making his 3rd start of the spring. He's appeared in 4 games, 1 out of the bullpen as well. There's a called strike, says Angel Hernandez. It is Angel Hernandez, CB Bucknor, John Lipka, and Shane Livensparger as your 4 umpires today. And now Reddick has worked the count full. Reddick coming over from the Oakland A's, getting a chance to be primarily in right field for Houston, but the reason he's playing left is because we will see the outfielders switch a bit as the season continues. Chopper right side. 1-2-3 inning for Adam Warren as Ronald Torreyes makes the play, and we're through 1-2-0 New York.
Leading the Astros, we go second. Catch all the excitement of spring training and enjoy the state-of-the-art fan-friendly amenities with the Astros in their brand new home at the ballpark of Palm Beaches. Visit astros.com/springtraining for tickets and info. Lance McCullers Jr. getting back to work here, and Todd, you were just talking about Tampa and the Yankees coming up from there. So did Lance McCullers' family. Lance McCullers Sr. coming up from there. That's where Lance resides in the offseason as well with his wife Kara. But you know, everything coming full circle with him facing the Yankees. That's where he fell in love really with some of the baseball players and falling in love with this game. Obviously his dad played in the big leagues, but when he was with the Yankees, he went to that spring training facility, and then even after his dad had moved on, he kept going back as a kid to the Yankees spring training facility and watched guys like Robinson Cano, who was one of his favorite players, and when he faced him for that very first time in the big leagues, had that wow, that first big league moment. I've heard guys say,
Yeah, it's a cool spot when you can live in an area where there's a lot of major leaguers, and obviously Lance grew up with it around his dad, and also now, although he lives in Houston a lot in the offseason primarily, but a lot of guys are in Tampa. A lot of guys in certain pockets of Arizona's got a lot of baseball players in the offseason, so you can always find guys to throw with or work out with in the offseason that way.
That's a beautiful thing, and I think those places attract professional athletes when they have the opportunity to use those facilities.
Ronald Torreyes, ground ball past J.D. Davis down the line. Torreyes is going to try and head to second. Josh Reddick's throw is in time. Number 22, Josh Reddick with the outfield assist. Marwin Gonzalez with the tag, and Torreyes is erased on the bases.
It's a great play all the way around. And as a hitter, you got to recognize where these outfielders are. Not only do you want to know when you're on second base, but you got to remember where they're at when you hit the ball, because if you try and extend and you're not 100% sure, things like this are going to happen. Almost looked like Torreyes slowed down on the slide too, but a wide turn coming around first. Great tag by Marwin, but Josh Reddick has one of the more notorious arms about being firm and accurate.
That is not a left fielder's arm.
No, exactly right.
That was a perfect strike on one hop, and Gonzalez with the tag, and you could see the call was made correctly by John Libka at second base. And now a foul ball. Counts 1-1 on the catcher Kyle Higashioka.
That was a good changeup, and actually Lance threw that one about 3 miles an hour faster than the couple of changeups we've seen already at 86 miles an hour. Tied him up, and again, you're not looking for the punch out. You're looking for what you just saw right there. Either he gets fooled, takes it for a strike, or maybe has him foul it off.
Swing and a miss. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
And I believe that was a changeup again. 89 miles an hour on that pitch, but actually good depth on that one. Now he can do whatever he wants.
Now he's got the hitter absolutely guessing. He's seen 2 straight changeups. He's down in the count. And forget about it. Breaking ball called strike. That was a nasty sequence from Lance McCullers. Higashioka goes down looking. Second strikeout for Lance.
Really was. We know that curveball is a high strike percentage. He is extremely comfortable throwing that. Not a perfect location, but again, set him up with the 2 previous changeups and just locked him up. There it is, the curveball use on top, almost 50%. And again, these numbers are amongst starters because Kimbrel, as far as curveball velocity, was #1. You see on the bottom line right there, curveball velocity averaging 85 miles an hour on that curve. And that's some sharp, nasty break.
It is a power curveball, as good as you'll see in the league, and swing and a miss. 1-1. Tyler Wade at the plate for the Yankees.
Well, it's deceptive when you throw it that hard. The fastball jumps out of Lance's hand already, and then you see the breaking ball jump out of his hand, and you immediately adjust to the speed, and then it snaps out of the zone. It's a tough pitch to square up.
Fouled away. It's 1 ball and 2 strikes. McCullers allowed a 2-out double in the first to Chase Headley. He retired Ronald Torreyes on a single on the perfect outfield assist throw by Josh Reddick. And now he struck out the Yankees catcher Higashioka. Tyler Wade also goes down. McCann's going to try and make the tag, and he does. So that'll do it for the Yankees in the top half of the second. 2 more strikeouts for McCullers, up to 3 in the game. It's 2-0 Yankees heading to the bottom of inning 2.
At bottom of the second. The Astros ballpark pass is back for 2017. Get access to all 13 home games in April, including opening day, for only $59. With the pass, you'll get tickets to each game via the MLB.com ballpark app. Visit Astros.com/ballpark pass now to purchase your pass while they last. Evan Gattis we'll see here shortly, and we'll see a lot more of Evan Gattis as the spring training really starts to end here in the next couple of weeks or come to a close. He's going to be behind the plate, though, here pretty soon, a little more than he has been. Coming into spring training, had a little bit of a shoulder issue, so they kept him from throwing. However, as far as catching goes, he's been doing more than enough work, a little extra, actually. They've been working on really just which pitches he should block or receive, some of those low pitches, and they've been doing so much of it that A.J. Hinch has been giving him a few extra days off this spring training just because of that. But definitely getting in the ABs like he is today as DH, and hopefully we'll get a chance to catch up with him when he's done today, and maybe catch up with him a little bit. Todd.
All right, Julia, thank you. Bottom of the second inning, and Gattis, as you mentioned, leading things off, and he sends one high and deep to left field. If it's fair, it is well gone. It is a foul ball. That ball just missed being a long home run by Evan Gattis.
Yeah, just enjoy. A little quick, short. Man, that's a pretty efficient stroke by Evan Gattis. Thought he held on long enough, but just curled at the last second out of here. That was a bomb.
Did not miss by much. Third base umpire Shane Livensparger calling it a foul ball. It's now a 2-1 count to the DH, Evan Gattis. Was noticing Gaddis walk into the on-deck circle, just brings that stick up. No batting gloves, no pine tar, no rosin, no donut. Just let me go swing the baseball bat by myself, just me and my bat.
Just a big pile of hate for that little white baseball is what he takes with him into the box.
I love that. Never steps out either.
No, he's daring you to throw it in there.
And Adam Warren did not throw it in there 4 out of 5 times, so he issues a walk. First base runner for the Astros this afternoon. And Evan Gaddis now on first base.
The only difference between McCann and Evan Gaddis is where they stand in the box. McCann, the left-handed hitter, and we talked about how McCann has 9 years of 20-plus home runs. Evan Gaddis down there at first base, who's going to be doing some catching, has never hit below 21 home runs in his big league career, so a lot of power.
This is a thick lineup. There is no doubt about it that A.J. Hinch and everybody associated with the organization feels like this is an offense that should score numerous runs.
And you were talking about the shift earlier in a couple broadcasts about how Brian McCann is working on going the other way, and there's a good shot of it because the shift is constantly being played against him.
Joe Girardi has a really strong shift going against his former catcher with everybody on the right side, and the lone exception is the third baseman, who is all the way almost behind second base. Well, not quite behind second base, but it's a pretty,
but still pretty exaggerated for a shift, yeah.
Pretty significant shift there. And we've seen McCann earlier this week with a couple of base hits the other way. He knows Adam Warren as well as anybody in this Astros dugout or clubhouse. We'll see if he tries to find a pitch and go the other way.
You tried that was like
Fouled back. It's 1-2. McCann coming over to the Astros from the New York Yankees. Previously with the Atlanta Braves to start his career. Spent 3 seasons with the Yankees and Joe Girardi, 14 through 16. There's a line drive and right over the shift into right center field for a base hit. Evan Gaddis trots to second. And Gaddis and McCann lead off base runners for Houston in inning 2.
Seen some good changeups from Adam Warren of the Yankees early in this game, but McCann did a good job right here. Sometimes when you're looking at that fastball away, maybe trying to go the other way, it allows you to stay on some of these nasty off-speed pitches. Did a good job of staying on that and threw it, just dumped it in there to right field.
That was a tough pitch to hit.
It really was a good pitch, but sometimes I felt like left-handed, if I was mentally thinking middle away as far as fastball, it allowed me to stay on the off-speed a little bit longer, and you kind of just track through the zone and eventually catch it. And if you get lucky like that, flip it out there in the outfield for a knock.
Yeah, that was down close to the shins or ankles. Here's another look.
Yeah, that's borderline in the dirt right there, but again, staying through the baseball allowed him to stay on that. And in protection mode with 2 strikes, too. Not putting it in the hands of Angel Hernandez, who could call a strike at any given second.
And for you, you said the key when you're hitting lefty is that if you're thinking going the other way, it makes you stay back.
Well, in order to hit the ball the other way, you need to let the ball get into a little bit deeper into the zone. So I felt like I was tracking the ball a little bit longer to see the baseball.
Work for McCann, first and second. Yuli Gurriel at the plate. Yuli with 5 RBIs this spring, looking to add to that total against Adam Warren and the Yankees. Swinging a foul. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. Gurriel getting some extended time at first base in the last few weeks. And that's where they really wanted to see him develop this spring. That was one of the major storylines coming into the Astros 2017 spring training, was how will Yuli adjust to playing first base on a regular basis. Ground ball to Headley. Headley to Torreyes. It's off the bag. Torreyes still has a shot at Gaddis, but has to hold the ball now. That should have been a double play, and Gaddis ended up heading back to the bag at second, which almost created a problem for the Astros, but he ends up getting to third after all that.
Yeah, that was interesting to say the least. Ground ball, usually you got to advance, but I know with the third baseman maybe coming at him, but Gaddis will have a good chuckle at this one. But again, right here, Torreyes, for whatever reason, chose not to throw it because he actually did have an opportunity to get Evan Gaddis when he finally decided to go to third base. I'm not sure how to explain that, Todd.
That 80 feet from second to third was very unusual.
Yes.
Yeah, that was not your normal base running situation there for Evan Gaddis, or display of base running, that is. Here's Colin Moran. Somehow Gaddis gets to third after all that. It's first and third with one out. And Moran, the hitter, he's up to a 367 average, best in the lineup today with 11 hits. That's tied for the team best along with A.J. Reed.
I think Evan Gaddis' running actually kept the Astros out of a double play because Chase Headley had nowhere to throw the ball with Oso Blanco in the way.
I think he confused them with that base running maneuver. Also, Reed Brignac has 11 hits to tie for the team lead. 3 different guys with 11 hits.
New switch hitter.
Yeah, how
out
about
some
that?
hits.
Getting a couple of knocks from his new right-handed side, but mostly from the left side. Moran, originally growing up where he grew up, Port Chester, New York, said everybody was a Yankees fan, so he had to be a Yankees fan, except for his uncle was B.J. Surhoff. So then he became an Orioles fan, so he's kind of like a tweener. As he sends one high in the air to right field, taking Aaron Judge back in front of the track. This will be an RBI for Colin on the sacrifice fly, and Evan Gaddis will score to make it a 2-1 game.
Nice work. Productive out for Colin Moran. Again, the interesting base running leads to a run for the Houston Astros. Talk about trying to get underneath and launch this, but that was a good pitch for him to get underneath and drive to the outfield, allow Evan Gaddis to score on the sac fly. Good execution. And those are better at bats. We keep talking about contact, and one of the things that frustrated me watching some of these games last year is the punch outs with guys on third base less than 2 outs. Those are easy RBIs for these guys to go out and get.
Fastball inside to J.D. Davis, misses. It's 1-0. 2-1 early. J.D. Davis has had his share of solid at-bats this spring. A chance to play third base a little more regularly. Alex Bregman and the Team USA contingency with a huge win last night. 6-3 to move on to the final stage of the World Baseball Classic. Luke Gregerson picking up a save in that game.
I didn't realize the Astros sent 3 third basemen to the World Baseball Classic.
How about that?
Altuve's played third base. Correa, obviously. Bregman, another third baseman. It's just kind of interesting how those things unfold.
Yeah, the funniest part is the Astros third baseman is the only one who hasn't been playing third.
Exactly right.
There's a called strike, 1-1. The Astros are represented by at least one player on all 4 remaining teams. So somebody in the Houston Astros organization will come back a World Baseball Classic champion.
It's really a credit to the Astros, too, in their scouting department, able to have these guys all over the world to find talent.
Line drive in front of Aaron Judge for a base hit. Gurriel stops at second. In case you're wondering, most people know on Team Puerto Rico, you've got the Carlos Correa and Carlos Beltran combo. Speaking of Carlos Correa, here he is. What a World Baseball Classic he's having.
Yeah, we all know about the prodigious pop that he does have, able to drive the ball out of any part of the ballpark. And there were a lot of comments about those ones he was hitting to center field because they were tough pitches. But here, showing some athleticism at third base.
Yeah, he's played some solid third.
And he's not shutting down any of the chatter of him potentially being a third baseman because he is so tall. A lot of people project that once he starts putting on weight, he will move from short to third. But I think he's pretty content being a shortstop.
He loves playing shortstop. Unfortunately, Francisco Lindor is a Gold Glover on the same Team Puerto Rico, so that's why he's played third in the World Baseball Classic. Those two are on Team Puerto Rico. We mentioned Gregerson and Bregman on Team USA. You've got Stijn Vandermeer, a minor leaguer who's on an infielder for the Netherlands, and of course you got Nori Aoki for Team Japan. So you've got at least one player represented for all 4 teams. Not sure if any other major league team can say that or not, that are the final 4 of the World Baseball Classic. would have been interesting because everybody assumed the Dominican was a favorite to get to the Final Four, and they were defeated yesterday by Team USA. The Astros were not represented on the Team Dominican Republic. So nice job by USA last night in what was a thrilling game and a 6-3 win.
They got some big hits and some phenomenal defense too. Adam Jones playing center field.
Oh my goodness. And Giancarlo Stanton with that laser.
Yeah, he tried to knock down the Western Metal Supply building out there in left field at Petco.
He likes that stadium.
He really does. It's some fond memories of driving the ball out of the ballpark there.
Home run derby champ. Last All-Star game, and now the count's 3-1. Adam Warren starting to struggle here in the second inning. He's up to 36 pitches now. Yeah, Giancarlo's from that area in California and Southern California, so he loves hitting out there. And Team USA will now play on Tuesday night against Team Japan. Teoscar Hernandez, big rip, and now the count's full. Warren did a better job throwing strikes last year than he did the previous year or any other point in his career. Three-two pitch, chopped down the line. Tough play for the third baseman. It's off his glove. Chase Headley recovers in time, though, to keep Gurriel third. But the Astros have the bases loaded.
Was a little curious what Yuli was going to do at third base. 3-2 count, 2 outs on the move. Ball didn't kick away from Chase Headley far enough for him to think about trying to make the turn and go home. Good move, stay on base, because you know the top half of this Astros order coming up. George Springer now has a chance with 2 outs and the bases juiced.
And this will be fun at bat for George. He knows Warren has to come in to the plate here with the bases loaded and 2 outs.
It's actually a pretty good job by Chase Headley just to knock it down. Really no play across the infield, just keep it in the infield.
Big rip by Springer, fouled back, 0-1.
Whatever they call it, Blu-ray, Red Ray.
Astros with 3 hits all this inning. After a 1-2-3 first, Adam Warren's allowed 1 so far here in the second. Houston threatening for more. Breaking ball misses, 1-1. Springer popped up his first time up.
This pitch might get pummeled right here.
Feel it?
I do feel it. And just knowing that Warren's having control issues, he wants to try and get ahead. He wants to throw a strike right here.
He is still struggling with that fastball command. Upstairs, it's 2-1.
And as a hitter, you know the guy's scuffling with command. Start eliminating pitches.
Gurriel on third, Davis on second, Hernandez on first. Pop up on the infield. Who wants it? Greg Bird looking at Chase Headley. It's Bird, the first baseman, who takes it for the final out. Astros leave the bases loaded, but they score their first run on a sacrifice fly by Colin Moran. It's 2-1 Yankees. Connected to Astros baseball all season long with the MLB.com at-bat mobile app. Customize the app for the Astros all spring. Plus, get the app's best features all season long by subscribing to at-bat premium. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Download MLB.com at-bat today, the #1 app for live Astros baseball. Alex Bregman has not had a chance to play a lot, but when he got a start against Venezuela, he went 2 for 3 with a walk.
It's kind of nice to see him getting those knocks off Felix Hernandez, too. But this is also, if you remember, very comfortable place for Alex Bregman to go out there and play. This is where the Futures game was played at last year in San Diego, where he almost hit for the cycle. But one of the more pure competitors is Alex Bregman. Just in talking to him and meeting him and talking to him before he went to the WBC, the one thing he kept saying, he goes, I want it bats. I want it bats. I want it bats. And now you can see why. He wants to get on the field. He's one of those grinder baseball types that you keep hearing about, but he's a fun kid to watch play.
I know that's one of the challenges for Jim Leyland.
Oh, I can't even imagine.
Jimmy Leyland's dealing with Nolan Arenado at third base, Brandon Crawford at shortstop. And
yeah,
it's
Gold Gloves, World Series rings.
Yeah, so it's as much as he wants to get Alex at bats, it's really tough for him to find the ABs.
But a credit to Alex Bregman too. When he has had the opportunity, he jumped in and got a couple of knocks. I mean, he's not. He's not playing angry. He's going out there and doing his job.
Gurriel, nice backhand play. Lance McCullers covers in time. Brett Gardner head first slide. Nice play by the Astros to retire Gardner.
All the way around, and that's good to see. Yuli Gurriel going over there and making a play to his backhand side. Sometimes it is tough when you have to lead a pitcher to the bag, but he did a great job right here. Good reaction by Lance McCullers too, by the way, to jump off the mound and be there. But it was a great job in the sense that Yuli put himself in a good position to make the play. But watch him set his feet and lead Lance McCullers nicely. He gave him plenty of time to catch it and take a couple more steps to find the base. That was very well executed.
And there's Gardner going in head first.
Every manager's dream.
Yeah, right, in spring training.
Oh.
You know how pitchers are supposed to chop their steps getting towards the bag. You could see that exaggerated with Lance McCullers there. He took about 4 half steps just to make sure he planted his foot on the bag. Now he'll deal with Aaron Hicks. A little chopper on the right side. McCullers will make the play to Gurriel as they reverse roles, and there's 2 outs.
Good changeup.
Like that orange glove? Pretty sharp.
It is pretty sharp. But there's that changeup. Good depth on that. He had really good arm action. Make sure he makes the catch. Again, Hicks can run a little bit. And also just the little things, if you're watching Yuli Gurriel, as you take a look at Lance's beautiful orange matching glove with the uniform today, is that Yuli gets over there and actually set up a very good target for Lance McCullers.
There's a ball that's behind Greg Bird. Didn't hit him. Actually went behind him, 1-0.
I think he was aiming for orbit. Is he in the vicinity? You better watch out.
Bird struck out swinging his first time up.
Remember how we were talking about his fastball command?
Yep.
There's a good example of it.
There you go. Pop-up. McCullers is chasing it along with McCann, and it's McCann with the underhand catch. A 1-2-3 inning for Lance McCullers. Very strong third for the Astros right-hander. It's 2-1 Yankees. Back at the ballpark of the Palm Beaches on a beautiful Sunday afternoon. Yankees are leading the Astros 2-1 as we head to the bottom of the third inning. We've never seen the berm filled up like it is today. It is a great day to be on the berm watching spring training baseball.
That is the truth. A little bit of a breeze out there, but it's got to be 75 and sunny. This is incredible. But the berm is where it's at.
Yeah, this is what they thought of when they said we're going to build a ballpark here between Haverhill Road and Military Trail in West Palm Beach. Days like today, nice little breeze blowing out to right, about 80, 82 degrees. And a lot of Yankees fans. They used to train down in Lauderdale. So a lot of people before they moved over to Tampa were Yankees fans in South Florida. And you're going to have Yankees fans everywhere.
Yes.
But they don't get over to the East Coast much. This will be their only trip. They play the Astros today. They play the Nationals in this ballpark tomorrow. So a lot of New York fans who are now living in South Florida on the East Coast have come out today to watch their Bronx Bombers. And a lot of Astro fans as well are here today. As Marwin Gonzalez, Josh Reddick, and Evan Gattis are the first three hitters for the Astros here in the third. Adam Warren up to 42 pitches through 2 innings. Gonzalez takes a pitch for a ball, 1-0. Marwin struck out his first time up, playing all over the field for A.J. Hinch this year, as we expected this spring. We'll hear from A.J. in the top half of the 4th inning as he will join us to discuss this game and other topics. 1 ball and 1 strike. I'm sure A.J. was pleased with his right-hander Lance McCullough Jr.'s 3rd inning. That was a very impressive inning against the top of the Yankees lineup. Right side to Reyes, and Gonzalez is 0 for 2.
Yeah, I'm sure that's an inning, last inning for Lance McCullers Jr. that A.J. Hinch likes to see. He loves to punch out. We know that Lance McCullers is a young guy, has the stuff to punch guys out, and it looks good on a stat sheet, but he loves to see those efficient 2 ground balls and a pop-out type innings. Get him on the bump, get him off the bump in a hurry, too.
And you mentioned the effectiveness of that changeup.
He had to throw a couple good ones in that inning, too.
It could be a game changer.
Yes. Especially if you can throw that early enough. Even if it's just a get-me-over changeup, it takes the hitter off sitting on your fastball.
Pitch is fouled back to the screen, 0-2. He has such a good curveball, such a good power curve that he can rely on that a lot. But again, if you don't throw it as often, it can be even that much more effective. And if he can mix in a few changeups in addition to that fastball and then drop the hammer.
Just keep those hitters guessing. Keep them off balance.
Could be a fun year to watch Lance McCullers. And we're hoping, like everyone else, that Lance and Dallas and the whole rotation stays as healthy as possible. And can't wait for that opening series against the Mariners beginning 2 weeks from tomorrow.
I'll tell you what, you break camp and you go into April. We know how horrific April was last year, going 7-17 for the Houston Astros. If you broke camp and you went Keuchel, McCullers, McHugh, and then Charlie Morton throwing 95 miles an hour, that's going to change your April outlook.
Well, Morton's been really impressive this spring.
He really has. He's turning into the talk of camp because of the velocity, and he had a couple of punch outs, 5 or 6 straight the other day. So he's looking really good.
I like when Julie asked him about the added velocity, and he said, "That's a good question. I really don't know." Really not sure.
Yeah,
but
stop asking me. I'll just keep doing it.
Well, that was an interesting pop fly.
I think Evan Gattis called that one. That was bizarre. There was no effort out of the catcher.
I thought it was in the crowd because
the way he gave up on it.
Yeah. Higashioka just kind of looked it off, and I'm like, all right, that ball's back in the crowd, and it landed right next to Evan Gattis in the on-deck circle.
Well, Chase Headley's playing well into that 6.5 hole. You see him on the left side. That's a long way for him to come down and try and make an attempt because it landed by Evan Gattis in the on-deck circle.
2-2 the count to Josh Reddick, who grounded out to second his first time up. Check swing. Gattis is getting peppered over there.
Yeah, he better watch out.
That was right over his head. Nothing bothers that guy.
He's a catcher. He's used to having things thrown at him.
Reddick stays alive, 2-2. Mentioned that Warren will mix in the changeup and the curve. He'll pretty much throw it to both lefties and righties. A few more to lefties or righties. There's a pitch away. And the count's full on Josh Reddick. 52 is now the pitch count. Excuse me, 53 with that last pitch. So Warren starting to add up some pitches here in the third inning. Reddick into right field. The wind is blowing out to right, but this will be caught by Aaron Judge as we check in with Julia Morales.
Thanks, Todd. I've got today's pitching performance powered by Kubota, and we're looking at Charlie Morton, and this pickup, this signing seems to be more and more important as the days go on and we get the starting rotation lined up. But this is why the Astros wanted him right here. When he's healthy, we're looking at some good years when he was with the Pirates. 3.96 ERA and the ground ball percentage 60%. We know we've seen a lot of those pitchers come through for the Astros and have a lot of success in that ballpark in Houston as well. But Charlie Morton's having a great spring, guys, and lighting up the radar gun, hitting 97 yesterday, went 4 innings, 3 hits, 1 walk, 7 strikeouts. So he's feeling pretty good and hoping to be healthy all season long. That's been something he's struggled with in years past, but he's feeling good going into 2017.
Gaddis fouls one back. The next delivery from Warren is sent in the air to center field. And that will do it for the Astros in the third as Hicks makes the play. So 1-2-3 inning for the right-hander Adam Warren. We'll hear from the manager A.J. Hinch right around the corner. Baseball, Yankees lead the Astros 2-1. Glad to have A.J. Hinch along with us once again down by the dugout. A.J., what have you liked so far out of Lance McCullers?
Well, I like him in the strike zone. He's filling up the strike zone pretty easily with all pitches. You know, he got into a little bit of trouble early on. Was one pitch not executed ends up costing him a couple runs. But when he's confident in the strike zone and not spraying the ball all over the place, last outing he had 60 pitches in 3 innings. Now we're looking at having to get him extra work in the bullpen after this inning. So it's a commanded strike zone today for him.
Yep, Lance is looking good. Dallas looked good the other day. Can you tell us how you feel about what Charlie Morton has gone out and done this spring?
Well, he's been probably the best guy of all of them, just because of the consistency and the velocity and being able to locate all of his pitches. He's I didn't know what to expect coming in. He only had 4 starts last year, so we were going to ease him into the spring, and it turned out to be he was much more ready than we were prepared for, and now he's sitting in the mid-90s. He's throwing strikes. He's doing a lot of good things. He'll start probably the first 3 games of the season for us if all things go as they're going. So it's been a nice addition to the rotation.
Would you say Charlie has 3+ pitches?
He does. He does have 3+ pitches. I have to convince him sometimes because he's so used to having 1+ pitch. But actually, the secondary pitches are pretty good. So I'll keep explaining to him, what I mean by 3+ pitches.
I like it.
Lance McCullers will deal with Matt Holliday to start the 4th inning. AJ, that might be news for Astros fans because they're anticipating Dallas Keuchel and Lance McCullers Jr. being in that first series with Seattle. So it just looks like right now with Colin, he may not pitch that first series, so we may see Charlie Morton in that first series?
Yeah, I think it'll be really a close call with McHugh, just given the time that we have. We still haven't given up hope that he's going to break with us, but he's a little bit behind, as we know. So, you know, we'll see how the back of the rotation ends up with Fires and Musgrove both competing. We've got a full rotation, even if McHugh's late for the season, but I'd expect Morton to pitch in the first series. We've got 10 straight games to start the year. So they'll be full 2 times through the rotation before the first off day.
Getting back to Lance, now that we get a chance to watch him pitch a little bit, talk about the reasoning for bringing that changeup into his arsenal.
It's just an extra weapon. You know, I think so many times, you know, you look fastball, you look breaking ball. So you're looking straight out of the hand, or he's got the big knuckle curveball thing or spike curveball, whatever it is that everybody in the league knows. So if you're going to go sell out for the breaking ball and you're going to take everything straight. If you're going up there to ambush his fastball, usually you can time up a bullet up here in the big leagues. So giving something front to back that he can get a hitter to want to commit to something straight, still put in play or get some swings and misses is a huge addition for him in his arsenal.
He had been filling up the zone.
Yeah, thanks a lot for bringing that up, guys.
I think you did.
That's incredible. You guys set me up for failure there.
We did. That was a leadoff walk to Matt Holliday. I know you were pleased to see the sac fly by Colin Moran, and Evan Gaddis spent some time next to you. Do you enjoy that route between second and third for Evan?
Yeah, he said he wouldn't have been on third if he hadn't gotten. He said the inning would have been over, but he blocked the double play, which is a very quick-witted guy to come off the field and come up with an excuse. Sometime between second base and home, he came up with that sort of story. But it was a unique play to say the least. But
well, anybody that knows a ball player knows they can come up with an excuse pretty quickly.
Right. No, we know why we mess up and when we mess up. What's funny about it is we have harped about second base run. I think we've actually locked these guys up by thinking about what they're doing at second base because of the secondary lead. Yesterday, George had a bullet hit right at him and ducked out of the way and got doubled off. But we'll keep hammering on him, and it's still part of the training process of this time of spring. But here in about 2 weeks, we'll need to be right.
Yeah, get those mistakes out of the way now. Evan is going to do some catching, but Brian McCann catching Lance McCullers today. We saw him the other day with Dallas Keuchel. How is he adjusting to catching these guys, and how much are you going to let him run these games with these guys?
Yeah, he's been really, McCann's really good. First off, he's very prepared. He's very curious. He asks a lot of questions. He works seamlessly with our pitching staff. So it's his game to run. And we have a great advanced team that we work together collaboratively with Brent Strom, our pitching coach, me, Craig Bjornson. We leave the room. We have a pretty firm game plan with what we're trying to do, and then obviously, you don't catch 1,000+ games without having an idea what you're doing. So he's gonna have full reign back there with some information that we can provide him. But his leadership behind the plate and his ability to read and react to inside the game is pretty elite.
Big swing from Aaron Judge, no contact. We're looking at a graphic here, AJ, with all the guys that McCann has worked with in the first 3 years of their career. And he gets a chance to learn a new staff. And we talked to you the other day about the time he's spending back there. He knows these Yankees pretty well, too.
He does. The funny thing about it, with McCann in his career, and you look at where he's been, I know we talk about pitcher-catcher stuff, but he was telling me the other day during our workout the shortstops that he's played with. And when you start thinking about Jeter, obviously, he played with Didi last year. Gregorius, he's played with Furcal. He's played with a tremendous amount of shortstops. He'll obviously add Correa to his list this season. So this guy's been around a couple good teams and a couple of elite players when you think about his career so far. And what is it, a decade?
You looking forward to getting some of the guys back from the Classic?
Oh man, yes. I mean, Jose landed. Jose's in town.
Is he?
He was so excited to come back to spring training. He took a red eye out of San Diego last night.
Oh my!
And landed here early this morning. We sent him home to go to sleep, and told him we have a night game tomorrow, so he's got like a day and a half to worry about anything. But I am ready. I'm really happy these guys get this experience. But I know you guys have been around our team quite a bit. It's not the same without your primary guys, and I'm happy that they're getting the experience. I watched Correa play with so much emotion. We're seeing Beltran be Beltran. Bregman's not getting to play. Gregerson closing out a couple games for Team USA. Aoki's hitting 3rd or 4th for Japan, which I'm about to break it to him. He's probably not going to hit 3rd or 4th in our team. But it's nice to have that experience. But man, I want my team back and get us together for one last week before we break camp.
Well, and it's been a rough stretch with the WBC because you are missing those names, so you've had to mix up lineups. Now you have the other challenge of bringing these guys back into the mix. How are you going to work that?
I just put them in the lineup and tell everybody else they'll have to wait for their playing time. So it's pretty easy when it's the primary guys. But obviously I'll ease them back in. They've got all full-day travel coming back. They'll get a day off, and then they'll play. But they're already ready to play kind of highly emotional, high-intensity games. And you know, Jose will be back in the 3-hole either tomorrow or the day game after on Tuesday. Same will apply to Bregman and Correa, Beltran when those guys get back.
After a leadoff walk, a couple of strikeouts from Lance McCullers Jr., getting Headley and then Aaron Judge. So you said at the beginning of this inning, this is the last inning for Lance no matter what?
It is. You know, we'll get some pitches down, four times up and down, which is what pitchers will tell you. I used to think it was about the volume, the number of pitches, and you look up and say, okay, he's got 50 pitches, or okay, he's got 60 or 70 or wherever he's at. In reality, the pitchers will tell you the ups and downs of how many innings they pitch is much more fatiguing. So we'll get these guys to 3 innings and then 4 innings and then 5 innings. Lance is on pace. He'll go down and get a few more conditioning type throws in the bullpen, but he can be done after this. We'll see Ken Giles next. We'll have a couple. Gustave's going to pitch today. Davinsky's going to pitch today. We may see Diaz. So we've got some velocity coming out of the bullpen here pretty soon.
Yeah, we just saw Aaron Judge punch out, and if something happened where the team's cleared dugouts, who's taking him?
Well, not me. I can assure you. I will have some. We got some big boys here. I think Springer's not a small fella.
No, he's not.
He's got a long way to go from center field to intercept Judge. But I sort of feel like he should be playing tight end for the
he's
for
a
the
massive
Texans
human.
or the Jets or the Giants.
He is a big boy. You mentioned we may see Diaz, another World Baseball Classic guy, and he picked up a save. That was good to see.
He did. You know, I joked with him when they left. We had our players did a presentation on each team that was represented on our club for the WBC, and so we had Columbia, and I joked with him. I said, "Oh, I'll see you soon. No, don't worry, you won't be gone very long." And he wasn't. But it'll be. We haven't really seen him. You know, he was delayed a little bit getting into camp. Then he was delayed in games, and so getting him in front of us to see exactly what we have, and as far as can he challenge Gustave and Hoyt and Peacock and some of these guys for the last roster spot, or is he going to AAA? Where he fits in our depth. So good arm from what I understand. I haven't seen a ton of them, but he had a good inning the other day in Fort Myers against the Red Sox, so I wanted to pitch today.
Lance behind 3-1 now on Ronald Torreyes with 2 outs. And
this is all your fault, both of your fault.
Walk, strike.
No, Lance he's going to throw exactly 70 pitches.
Yeah, he knew he had some pitches to work with.
No, he can't throw 70. I'll take him out before 70. But I just, for the record, if you wouldn't have brought up his strike zone, or maybe I brought it up.
I think it was you.
Yeah, you don't even try. I mean,
all right, that's my fault.
Yeah, we've got we can go back to the replay if we need to, but you can't throw us under the bus like that.
If I can't use replay in spring training, you can't either.
That's a good point. Fair enough. Hey, how's Coco doing?
Coco?
Yeah, your dog.
Oh, Coco, my dog's good. My dog misses me. You know, Coco takes a few walks with me after some games that may or may not go pretty well. So
is Coco down here?
She knows a lot now. She's resting comfortably in the living room.
I was going to say, your Instagram showed a picture of her, and she has got it figured out.
Yeah. Oh, now you follow me on Instagram very closely.
I've done my research, man.
Yep. I'm a big dog guy. You know, McCullers, speaking of dogs, loves his dogs. I'm a big dog guy. I'm really glad for that segue here, Blummer.
There you go.
That's what I'm here for. I'm just, I'm the Magic Johnson of this broadcast. I'll just give you guys, set you guys up for these layups.
Can I get an out here, please?
Yes.
Kyle Higashioka is the batter. A.J. Hinch is asking for an out. He just had a meeting on the mound with his pitching coach, Brent Strom, and his starter, Lance McCullers Jr. So we are approaching the final few pitches here for Lance McCullers as he delivers a strike, 0-1.
It's actually a good question. And with Brent Strom going out there, give us a rough idea of what possibly might be going on in that conversation when Brent goes out there.
Mostly tempo and timing for him and delivery, like maybe some little tweak on when he's getting through his backside. You know, Lance has a lot working in his upper body. He's got a high front side. He's got his arm stroke is, he likes to throw the ball with a little bit of energy coming down the hill. So I think it's mostly for him. It's a an indicator of one key that every pitcher has in order to get him back in sync or back timed up.
Strami's got him ahead 0-2 now.
Yeah, that's not easy for Strami
so far.
But it's good to know that, I mean, every time the pitching coach goes out there, it's a different conversation regarding who's on the mound.
Very individualistic, or individualized.
Breaking ball hit into left field for a base hit. They're going to hold the runner at third, and now the bases are loaded as Reddick throws it all the way into McCann on the fly. Bases loaded in 2 outs. If you have to go, AJ, we could.
I'll be right back.
Yeah, go ahead. AJ Hinch joining us on the mic. Now he has to go out. He's going to go to Angel Hernandez. Let's take another look at that hit.
Just a hanging breaking ball, like we keep talking about. The power curveball that we're used to seeing from Lance McCullers will be buried in the dirt, especially with 2 strikes. Right there, kind of jumping out of his hand a little bit, and kind of has that flip. And this is not a good thing when we see the trainer coming out with AJ Hinch. Seemed to be looking down at the pitching rubber. Maybe the way his foot is going in there, not able to push off. I'm not sure.
The good news is we should find out soon, right?
Yeah, I mean, you would like to think so, but I understand if AJ avoids the situation. That's not what we wanted to see today from Lance McCullers, him walking off. Hopefully it's just something minor.
Do you think there's a possibility they just didn't have anyone ready? They needed some extra time?
That wouldn't be the first time that's happened.
All right, we'll tell you about the new pitcher when we come back.
Back here in West Palm Beach, the move has been made, and the Yankees are leading 2-1. Bases are juiced, but here's today's Whataburger What a Play. And even though he didn't leave in a good fashion, he started out in great fashion. We saw the good breaking ball down in the zone from Lance McCullers, able to set up a hitter by throwing a couple of changeups. Not the best one, but able to get those strikeouts again on the breaking ball, which he does. We talked about how well he goes when he gets to an 0-1 count to an 0-2 count and able to mix in those off-speed pitches for strikeouts. But really wasn't the ending we wanted to see from Lance McCullers. We saw some good changeups early on, some breaking balls that you just saw in the highlight to put away some hitters, but we are lucky enough to have AJ Hinch back on the headset, which I greatly appreciate. Could you give us an idea of what just unfolded with Lance McCullers coming off the mound?
Yeah, no, obviously I can breathe a little bit easier. He's got a toe issue that started bleeding through his shoe. And so, yeah, he didn't have the toe guard that you normally have on your back foot. And it looked like there was a hole in his shoes and blood was coming out. So I don't know if it was his toenail or what it was, but it had nothing to do with his arm, nothing to do with his delivery, nothing to do with anything that would be worst case scenario. So we, rather than have him gut through one more out or one more inning, just watching him, have a little bit of blood on the mound was not ideal.
Yeah, and I want to say something right now. I know this is going to sound like I'm totally sucking up to our manager, but I don't think there's many managers that would come back and put their headset on. And what you've done for us in spring training has been phenomenal, and we greatly appreciate the fact that you've got the headset back on, and you're very good at being on air.
No, I appreciate it. It's a fun partnership to work with you guys, and you guys do a great job.
And
so it's much easier to do it.
Yeah, and spring is a little bit different than regular season.
I can't say I'll put the headset on during the season if something happens, but
it's a little more intense.
That's right. There's a little bit more at stake, though. But you guys are really easy to work with. We're around each other every day. It's fun to work with you guys.
That was the best case scenario that we could probably
have. Thank goodness, yeah.
I can't promise you that I would have come back on the headset had it been something
That's what
more
I was
dramatic.
worried about, yeah.
But I would at least tried, but no, it's a lot easier to do that. But you guys don't ask much out of me. This is an easy thing to do.
It was pretty seamless. Did Strami let you know after the visit that he had a little toe issue? Or?
Yeah, you could tell because you guys could see he was favoring his foot a little bit, and so we kind of have a motion here where I asked Strami what was going on, and he was trying to get him to drive off the mound, like I talked about the mechanics adjustment that he would do, and that's when he found out. And so we were trying to get him through another hitter. Didn't seem like that big a deal, but he's not going to limp around out there.
Well, you've seen enough of Lance McCullers, obviously, and so have I. But I mean, there were some breaking balls that were uncharacteristic to me because they were kind of popping out of his hand, and that's uncharacteristic for him. Could that be caused by the foot not being able to push off?
Yeah, a little bit. I think
slows down the arm.
Delivery. You're just going to be a little tentative getting down the hill, which. I mean, I don't know about you, but I wouldn't want to drag a foot that's sore on the mound. So, obviously things happen like this all the time during the year that a lot of people won't even know about, or they fix it in between innings, underneath in the tunnel with the medical attention, stuff like that. So, little odds and ends happen. Obviously, in spring training, we don't even waste time with trying to even consider leaving him in the game. He got his pitch count up a little bit. He pitched great. It was a bad way to end his outing.
Now here's the aforementioned Dion Diaz that we were talking about, as he will face a bases loaded 2-out situation, and Tyler Wade is the hitter. Will this be just a 1-out situation, or will you let him pitch into the fifth as well?
I'd like him to pitch 1+. Again, he's a guy I knew was going to pitch today. I didn't want to put Gustave or Giles or Davinsky. Warming up on the field is a little bit different. I wanted this kid to get extended a little bit. We'll get to see hopefully an out here. We'll get a full inning next inning, and then we'll start with our other guys.
Diaz pitched in the World Baseball Classic, picked up a save against Team Canada, then threw a shutout inning against the Dominican Republic. So impressive World Baseball Classic for a guy who came over from the Cincinnati Reds in the offseason. Bases loaded, 2 outs. Astros trailing 2-1. We're in the fourth. A.J. Hinch has joined us this inning with a mound visit in between.
Little scouting report on Dion.
He's got a pretty good fastball. His velocity gets up into the mid-90s. He's got a good little slider, and then he throws this split. So, a lot of times with guys that come up through the minor leagues like him, they rely heavily on their fastball. His secondary pitches are pretty good. Getting him confidence to use them, especially in a situation like this where you put him in with the bases loaded and no room for error. His fastball, while good, is just still can be timed up at the major league level. That'll be an adjustment as he gets to the big leagues on a more regular basis. Is can he land this slider and this split?
Now the count's even at 2-2. So McCullers leaves with 2 outs in the fourth inning with the bases loaded. A 2 RBI base hit by Chase Headley, the only runs allowed to this point. And we see Dion Diaz come on, get a chance to warm up in front of the entire crowd and try and get out of a bases loaded 2-out situation.
Yeah, I've never had to do that from the mound. Obviously, I've had to warm him up behind the plate, but Musgrove did that for his debut last year. We've had a couple other guys have to do it. I can't imagine it's the most comfortable thing in the world.
96.
Pretty good.
Good fuel.
A lot of the guys, I would think a guy like him, even though he's been, he's 29 years old, he's been around a little bit, but I would think a guy like him coming off success at the WBC can only bode well for his confidence coming.
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, these guys, they love to show what they've got. He knows coming in. We've got a little bit of velocity in our bullpen. We'll see Gustave, like I said, Giles, Davinsky out of the bullpen throws pretty hard. So it becomes down to the secondary pitch. But can you offer something a little bit different? Maybe a split finger is the guy, or is the pitch that separates him from some of our other high-end velocity guys. So it should come into play these next few outings for him to step up and see what he's got.
Of course, Dion was the first guy back, as AJ mentioned. Everybody else who was gone kept winning till Jose Altuve's team was eliminated. And as you mentioned, Jose is back here today. Diaz trying to get out of a bases loaded 2-out situation. Tyler Wade battling at the plate. Wade struck out against McCullers in his first at bat. So no more extra pitches needed from Lance today. We're good.
No, I think we'll call it a day for him. Go get a pedicure.
You know any place in town?
I don't. I can't say that I have, but I fully expect with how many days off you have, you guys might be able to find one.
Well, there might be somebody at the other end of the dugout that can help you out with that.
Speaking of Ms. Morales.
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
How about Marwin Gonzalez playing second base? And I know with the WBC he's been moving all over the place, which has been kind of nice. What's going to be the role he fills this year?
Hopefully it's the role we design for him every year, where he can spell first base, second base, short, third. He's going to play left field in a couple days, here. So he'll play a little bit of outfield, but sort of super utility perfection.
Nice.
Good job.
Split.
How about that, AJ? You called for it.
You got it.
Nicely
That's
done.
good coaching after bad coaching.
Thank you, AJ. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
AJ Hinch joining us. It is still 2-1. You're on March 30th. Get your tickets now at shellhoustenopen.com. And by Toyota. Let's go places. Bottom of the fourth inning. Not a bad day for baseball or a boat, as the Yankees lead the Astros 2-1 from the ballpark of the Palm Beaches. Todd Callis along with Jeff Plum and Julia Morales. Glad you could join us on this Sunday afternoon. Back with you on Wednesday when the Astros take on the Minnesota Twins. And then we'll have 3 more down here in Florida and West Palm Beach to wrap up this portion of our telecast schedule. But we will have one more. Our 10th broadcast of the spring will come your way from Minute Maid Park against the defending world champion Chicago Cubs, as they will play a couple of games at Minute Maid Park getting ready for their season. It is Brian McCann to lead things off for the Astros. Thanks again to AJ Hinch for joining us in the top half of the fourth. Always entertaining. And very informative this time, especially to find out immediately about why Lance McCullers left the game.
That was really impressive. I mean, I don't want to understate the fact that he actually, one of his better pitchers in the rotation, gets hurt and he comes back on the headset to explain it. But again, it was a good explanation. It was better than hearing about an arm. I'm not sure he would have done that if it would have been a blown shoulder or elbow.
Lance was effective. He gave up a 2-out, 2 RBI double to Chase Headley, but bounced back for a strong second and third inning, and then lost command a little bit there in the fourth when he was dealing with the toe issue. McCann rips one to right field. He's 2 for 2 against his former team. This one goes to the wall. McCann is heading to second, and he will be out at second base. Aaron Judge to Chase Headley, who was over on the right side in the shift, who applied the tag for the putout.
Brian McCann's a salty veteran. You see right here, another pitch misses its location from Adam Warren, and he absolutely just hooks this thing into the right field corner. Ball was hit pretty well. Aaron Judge got to it nicely and made a good throw into second base, but speed up rules in effect. McCann gets himself thrown out.
Like that, 2 for 2.
Yeah.
Speed up rules in effect. Here's Yuli Gurriel called strike, nothing in 1. Well, they have shifted on Brian McCann a couple of times, and once he hit one over the shift, that one he put almost to the wall on the fly. Gurriel down in the count, 0-2.
It's actually an interesting point because we talk about infield shifts all the time. The outfield's doing it too, and Aaron Judge pulled over to that right field corner side, got to the ball extremely quick.
Warren up to 62 pitches now on the foul ball by Gurriel. Adam last year when he was traded back to the Yankees right before the deadline, joined the team when they were in Houston. Never quite felt as comfortable with Joe Maddon in Chicago, and it was a new team, a new league. He'd always been a Yankee, and he was happy to get a share and be part of the world champion Chicago Cubs in 2017. I think his comfort zone definitely lies in being in the pinstripes. So Warren vying for a spot in the rotation, but also knows he can be that swing guy out of Joe Girardi's bullpen if he does not get the 4th or 5th spot in the Yankees rotation. Up and in, and the count is 2-2 on Gurriel. Popped high in the air on the infield. Torreyes calls. So does the shortstop Wade. It's Wade who takes control, and there's 2 away. First 3 in the Yankees rotation pretty much a lock with Tanaka and Sabathia and Pineda, and this will be the last time we see Adam Warren today as Joe Girardi pops out of the dugout after pitch 65, and Adam Warren's day will be done after 3 2/3 innings. So Colin Moran will see a new pitcher. Yankees lead 2-1 in the 4th.
Astros 2-1, 2 outs in this inning with the pitching change. The Astros are celebrating Jeff Bagwell's election into the Hall of Fame all season long. A special 5-game ticket package includes tickets to the Hall of Fame weekend in August and access to exclusive Baggy-themed giveaways. Visit astros.com/mini-plans for more info. Jeff Bagwell was one of those unique talents at first base. Obviously, the power, the ability to drive in runs. But one of the things that I think is so underrated with Jeff Bagwell was his ability to run the bases. He'd get on first base. He was a threat to steal bases. And right here you see 25 home runs, 25 stolen bases in a season by a first baseman. Jeff Bagwell is on there twice.
It's only happened 4 times ever.
Unbelievable.
It'll be fun to live through the summer of Bagwell this year.
Oh, just looking at some of the years and some of the numbers he's put up. An honor very well deserved for Baggy.
Colin Moran, the hitter, new pitcher for the Yankees is big right-hander Ben Heller, 6'3", 205-pounder. Pitched in 10 games with the Yankees last year, all out of the bullpen. Spending most of the season with Columbus. He was part of that 4-for-1 deal. We talked about Warren being in a 4-for-1 deal for Aroldis Chapman. Heller was part of a 4-for-1 deal with the Cleveland Indians when Andrew Miller went to the Tribe. Heller, Clint Frazier, an outstanding prospect. outfielder. Pitcher Justice Sheffield, also a great prospect, and J.P. Fireisen along with Heller, all for Andrew Miller. So the Yankees last year traded Chapman and Miller and got 8 players back, and then they went back and got Chapman back.
That was beautifully done by Brian Cashman. A lot of people were speculating, will he do it? Will the Yankees do it? Because they are not an organization known for going out and trading away veteran talent to bring back young talent. But the trend in baseball is to see those teams make trades with guys who have equity and get some young talent in return. And so far, you've seen some of these guys, they've got great arms and they did a great job in return. And like you said, they have the financial well-being to go out and get a guy like Aroldis Chapman back. So it was a win-win situation for them.
Yeah, pretty impressive what they were able to do to get Chapman back. And the Cubs used every bit of Aroldis Chapman while they had him.
Did they ever? And they still almost snuck into the playoffs last year.
The Yankees, yeah, with all those moves. There's a ground ball on the right side, dropped by Bird, but it was in the exchange, so that's a ground out to end the inning. So Heller gets Moran, and we're heading to the 5th. Just sit and enjoy this.
There's not much else you can do with it.
A little bit entertaining the crowd here at the ballpark of the Palm Beaches.
Is he okay?
I think so.
Simple checking.
A little hard to get up when you have stubby legs like that. There you go.
What the tortoise shell's going on here? Get your knees up.
Part of the festivities at the ballpark of the Palm Beaches. Astros and Yankees. It is a 2-1 Yankees lead. Dion Diaz will be back for a second.
Sorry.
You love that guy.
Oh, man. Just an inflated ego right there.
They have at least two that I've seen. Different inflatable mascots on hand this spring. So a little bit getting his turn today. Sunsplash crowd enjoying this baseball game on a Sunday afternoon. The Yankees back to the top of their lineup with Brett Gardner leading off. Gardner singled and scored one of 2 runs allowed by Lance McCullers Jr. in his 3 2/3 inning of work. Lance left with a little toe issue. Dion Diaz finished out a bases loaded 2-out situation, striking out Tyler Wade, and now Diaz gets his own clean inning to work with, and he gets the top of the Yankees lineup. You were talking last half inning a little bit about how the Yankees were still in contention despite those trades at the end of 2016. They had the benefit of both getting younger and staying as good or more competitive with all their moves they made last summer.
Yeah, that actually would be an interesting conversation with Brian McCann being on that side, seeing those young kids come in. And fortunately for us and Brian McCann, he got traded away because of Gary Sanchez behind home plate. But they did have some young, hungry individuals out there. And the Yankees are one of those organizations in the past, in recent past, where you kind of get shoved down a little bit. You have the good talent, and then you move some of those veterans out of the way via trade, or you release them and get rid of some of those contracts. It opens up some holes, but they have the talent to move into this situation. The Aaron Judges, Gary Sanchez we talked about, Bird got a chance over there at first base. But these guys stepped up on the big stage, and really basically I would say they shocked the world by how well they played. But for me, this season, maybe with that year of experience under their belt, might be one of the surprises in the AL East. But again, pitching is everything.
Well, that's the key. And it's very similar to me as to what everybody says about Houston. If Keuchel and McCullers can stay healthy, you've got Tanaka. He's had his issues over the years. CC Sabathia has gotten older. And Michael Pineda. Those three guys, if they stay healthy, that's a pretty solid three guys at the top of your rotation.
Well, that's a tough three-game set. You come into Yankee Stadium on a weekend and you're going Tanaka, Pineda, Sabathia. You're in for a dogfight.
And they still have some veterans, such as a Brett Gardner still here. You still got Chase Headley over at third base.
Up the middle, they're pretty solid. Gregorius and Starlin Castro. Those guys can play. They can swing it. Veteran DH and Holiday.
Yep. That's a big addition.
Yeah.
So it will be interesting to see. You never hear of the Yankees as sellers. And for the first time in perhaps 15 or 20 years, we heard that last year when they were making deals before the deadline to move an Aroldis Chapman and an Andrew Miller. High in the air to left field, Josh Reddick comes in, and he's still coming and will make the play. J.D. Davis went all the way out just in case. So Gardner retired for the first out here in the fifth. And you heard, there's Dion Diaz. You heard A.J. Hinch say he hasn't had a chance to see him much. So this is a good opportunity for Dion. Yes, he pitched in the World Baseball Classic for Columbia. And then in his last outing, he pitched in that split squad game against the Red Sox down at Fort Myers. But you want to pitch on the main stage in front of your manager as much as you want to be a part of a World Baseball Classic team, especially when you come into a new organization like he is this spring.
Yeah, it's all good and well to impress all the other coaches, and you hear it, you know, via word of mouth. But you want to have that firsthand experience of having your manager watch you pitch and perform. Just a different feel when you actually get to be in front of the manager who's potentially going to put your name on that roster.
You heard him talk about that third pitch. He does not use that split change very often. He's mostly fastball slider. The Astros like to see him work in that third pitch a little bit. He missed on the first delivery and also away on that one. He's 2-0 on Aaron Hicks. Hicks really had a strong second half for the Yankees last year, as Jeff was mentioning, all the guys that contributed to keep them in the race despite some moves late in the season. Hicks was right there in the mix as well.
He's got a pretty good arm in the outfield. Can flat out run too.
Fastball on the ground. Gonzalez with the play. Diaz covering. Marwin so smooth, 2 away.
Yeah, that looked a lot easier than that play actually is. Marwin did a good job moving to his left, anticipating the hop, and turns around and squares himself up to give Diaz a great feed right here. Again, not easy to do to hit that pitcher on the move, but right in stride. Good footwork from Diaz also.
Diaz did a good job getting over there in a hurry, but you're right. As a former infielder yourself, that's not an easy play on the move to throw a strike like that to a moving target. He kind of just made it look effortless.
Really did, but Marwin's got one of the better arms, probably one of the more underrated arms in, I would say, all of baseball, because if he doesn't have that arm, he's unable to move to shortstop and third base and even sneak out into left field, but he's got a sneaky cannon.
See the shift on for Greg Bird, 3 on the right side. Bird has struck out and popped up to Brian McCann. Dion Diaz getting a chance to see him in his first full inning of work for the Astros. A couple of scoreless innings in the WBC for Houston. He's appearing in his third game. His first was back in February when he took on the Nationals here at the ballpark of the Palm Beaches on February 28th. So this is A.J. Hinch's first chance to see him live since the 28th of February, as he's ahead 1-2 on Bird. He has thrown strikes for the most part. When he has missed a little on the arm side, away from the lefties, in on the righties. There's a ball in the left field. Reddick gets a good read, and he dives and makes the catch in left. Josh Reddick makes a couple of plays this inning. The last one spectacular.
Stays in right field, but it can move all over the place. Phenomenal catch.
Astros taking on the Yankees. It's the bottom of the 5th, and I've worked long and hard today, so I thought it was time for me to take a break. And I found the best spot to watch a game at this ballpark, by far my favorite right now. These lawn chairs are first come, first serve here at the ballpark. They're right underneath the scoreboard. I will tell you, it's a wind tunnel, though, so when the days are hot like today, it's nice and cool, but you can bet if a ball gets caught up in this one wind tunnel, you might get yourself a home run ball out here. But it's a great place to watch the game. This is just one of the many features that they have in this brand new ballpark. But come sit up here on the berm or get here early and get a comfy lawn chair, guys. Jealous?
So yeah, we are
about?
jealous. We are
You've been up
jealous.
I
there
even
for
left
the
my
last-
sunglasses on for this. I thought it
Yeah,
was
you've
fitting.
been up there for the last 4 innings.
No, I have not.
Well, if they're
Liar.
first come, first serve, how did you get the seat?
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
You have a little bribe out there.
Oh, that's great.
No, there was a nice man who was leaving. I happened to come in at the right time, but I found some Astros fans out here. So
I saw-
as soon as I get up, I bet there's people running for the seat. I'll tell you that.
I saw Astros fans. I saw a guy with a Team Puerto Rico hat right behind you. So we got
Nice.
all kinds of representation out there.
It's a great view.
Comfortable, good view.
It is comfortable.
Are you good? Can you fall asleep?
A little sleepy now.
Okay.
No, I'm
my
great.
goodness.
This is really cool. This is a great idea.
Yeah, you're making that. Oh, gosh. Yeah, a little jealous. We don't have those seats here in the booth. Can you imagine
Yes,
if we
you
did?
do. Yes, you do.
We don't have
No
lounge chairs.
No chance.
You change out your chairs as soon as you're off camera. Don't lie.
Well, enjoy the inning out there. We may check in with you as the inning
Okay.
progresses.
I'll be here.
I don't know if there'll be a lefty that can put one up there, but you never know. Look out for home runs. Reddick could hit in this inning, or Marwin Gonzalez for that matter. We have a new pitcher, Luis Severino, will be on for the New York Yankees as we play here in the bottom half of the 5th inning. Severino, another guy, he places that first fastball 96 by J.D. Davis, 0-1. Severino, another guy like Adam Warren, vying for that 4 or 5 spot in Joe Girardi's rotation. This guy's always had a live arm, brings that fastball around 96, also a slider and a changeup. And 99. This guy's-
Really reminiscent of Nuke LaLoosh. Come in and announce your presence with authority.
See what he did last year with the Yankees. Consistency with the strike zone is his issue, as you see his record in ERA over 22 games, and there's a called strike, 1 and 2.
Fastball, slider, changeup. Doesn't throw that changeup too often.
When you have a fastball like that,
Man,
changeup could be a good weapon, but he's working on that. That's definitely a work in progress for him, and one of the things, like Lance McCullers, he's working on this spring. How about that AB by J.D. Davis? Hung in there, down 1 and 2 in the count, and JD's now 2 for 2 on the day and over 300 on the spring.
did a great job staying on that slider. It's tough when you're gearing up for 99, but he did a good job of keeping the head still, hands still, recognized, and just shot it the other way. It was a great piece of hitting.
JD has done a nice job in his at-bats this spring for the Houston Astros. Take a look at Teoscar Hernandez. He reached on an infield hit his first time up. 95 with the fastball, misses away, 1-0. For J.D. Davis, that's now hit number 10 on the spring in 29 at-bats. There's a line drive base hit. Teoscar has himself a 2-for-2 day. And the Astros have the first 2 runners on and the top of the order due up. How's the look out there, Julia?
It's still nice. I do want to talk about George Springer as he comes up here because he is our subject of At the Cares, building a champion. And you'd mentioned earlier in the game, Todd, him playing all 162 games last year, and that being a huge number for him for the injuries that he dealt with early in his career, but offensively what it did for him and how much he was able to grow, including being in that leadoff spot. But the numbers, you know, doubling his RBI in 16 than in 15, just getting a lot of ABs, but so much more comfortable of a hitter. We saw him do some different things in that last year than we did when he was called up, and just really mature. But defensively too, guys, just the durability that he was able to show of being out there all 162 and moving over to center field. We're still going to see the great catches, but this guy sacrifices his body, goes all out. I don't think that's changing, but it's definitely a good sign to see him playing all season long.
I think he's really looking forward to playing center field. Do you sense that when you talk to him?
Yeah, that's a little bit of a comfort thing. It's you get to go back to where you feel you originally belong. But I think it gives him much more room to roam out there. He doesn't have to think about the corners in the outfield, you know, the stands coming into play. But, you know, for him to play 162 games and watching him for all of those 162, Julia's exactly right. He didn't back down one bit. He was throwing his body all over the place, making great plays behind some of these pitchers.
Marwin Gonzalez, the hitter.
And 82 RBIs at a leadoff spot is great. But did you see the runs scored?
Yes.
106. He gets on base with this lineup behind him.
If you can have a bigger run scored season than 116, you are having yourself a year. There you see the numbers. 644 at bats, 116 runs scored. Only 2 other players played all 162 last year. That's becoming more and more unusual.
Well, and he's a guy that had the question mark of durability, and he went out there and he said, go ahead and forget about that. I'm going to go out there and play every day. 162 games is pretty impressive.
2-0 to Marwin Gonzalez, tapped off the plate, and Severino will make the play to prevent a run from scoring. So after a couple of base hits to start the inning, Severino works out of a jam, and it's still 2-1. Sixth inning baseball. Yankees scored 2 in the first. Astros scored 1 in the second. That's where we stand through 5 as the Astros will send Ken Giles to the mound for inning number 6.
There's a look at some of the numbers from Ken Giles last season. It was a rough start, but he finished extremely strong. So there's a 4.11 ERA is a little bit deceptive, as it is with most relievers who struggle out of the gate. It's tough to put those numbers back down. But the second half, he moved into that closer's role, did a fantastic job. The strikeouts per 9 inning, almost at 14 per 9, which is amazing. He's got a fastball around that can touch 100 miles an hour plus, but he also has an explosive wipeout slider that he likes to put away hitters with.
And look at a good test in this inning with Matt Holliday, Chase Headley, and Aaron Judge, your hitters. Giles allowed in his very first outing of the spring, a run on 3 hits in an inning against the Washington Nationals. But since then, he has had 4 scoreless outings, 2 against the Mets and 2 against the Nationals. Now facing his first American League team this spring, the New York Yankees, and Holliday is the hitter. Holliday's only spent a short amount of time in the AL, about half a season with the Oakland A's. Fouls one away, 1-1. Rest of his time with Colorado for 5 years and St. Louis for 7.5. 7 times he's been in the All-Star game. It's nice to see these guys get 3 at-bats in a game. You're starting to get to that point in the spring where the regulars are hanging in there 5, 6, 7 innings. Some guys play 9 now. Fouled back, and it stays 1-2, or it moves to 1-2.
Yeah, it makes our job a lot more fun. We get to see these guys 3 or 4 times and talk about them a little bit and see some of the adjustments that they do make in game. But you're getting to that point in spring training where you start to see guys throw more innings, more pitches, and then you see the hitters playing a lot more on defense, getting a couple more ABs, getting in that midseason shape.
There's a breaking ball called third strike, a beauty. You don't see Matt Holliday frozen very often, but Giles freezes him with that slider.
Just go to with 2 strikes. Locked him up. It tells me that maybe Matt Holliday was looking for something else, maybe the fastball after fouling off the previous slider, but doubling up on that slider puts him away.
Impressive sequence from Giles to get Holliday, and now he'll deal with Chase Headley. Headley has doubled and struck out. You know, looking at both Chase Headley and Brian McCann at the plate, a couple of former Yankees teammates. I think both of them started out a little slow in New York and never really got comfortable until a couple of months in wearing the pinstripes. And you're thinking, well, it's just another team, but it can be a whole different game playing in New York for the first time.
That is an intense microscope to be playing under. I mean, the media scrutiny alone, the expectation of the fans, and obviously the expectation of the history of the uniform adds up a little bit for even the best of ball players. But if you're going good, what a great place to play.
They both would eventually turn it around, but I think you always put pressure on yourself when you come to a new team and you're struggling, but especially in that city, as you said, because of the microscopic nature that is involved with being a Yankee.
Well, Chase put a little extra pressure on himself when he hit 29 home runs in Petco Park for the San Diego Padres.
How about that?
That is a huge bar to set, because that is a massive ballpark. Chase does have the pop, and then you move what you think is 29 home runs in Petco into Yankee Stadium. You expect that to be very similar.
Well, Chase is having himself a nice day. He's 2 for 3 now, including that 2 RBI double to start the game. So he singles into right with 1 out. And Giles will now deal with Aaron Judge. You heard A.J. Hinch say that he thought he should be a tight end for the Jets or the Giants. Judge is 6'7", 282 pounds.
And that might be understated.
282 for a baseball player.
6'7".
Pitches away, 1-0.
Not that that can't happen, but it's just unheard of to see somebody this size. I mean, Giancarlo Stanton is a massive human being, and he's, what, 6'5", broad shoulders.
Yeah.
And Aaron Judge makes him look small.
You get a lot
smaller, not small.
You see big guys get in the 250 range,
yeah,
but you rarely see 280 and 282.
Well, 280 and look like that? That's not what I imagine 280 looking like. Yeah, that's not a bowling ball at home plate.
No. This guy, when he hits the ball, it goes a long way. And his very first major league at bat, he hit a home run in his debut. In fact, he and Tyler Austin went back-to-back in their debuts with home runs. There's a ball hit well to right field on 1 hop to Teoscar Hernandez. He'll get the ball back in quickly to keep Chase Headley at second. So Judge with his first hit. And that is hit number 7 for the New York Yankees. Diane Diaz did a nice job coming in out of the bullpen, getting out of a bases loaded 2-out situation, and then a 1-2-3 fifth. He was aided by a great play in left by Josh Reddick. Now Ken Giles on the 6th with 1 out and 2 on. Kyle Higashioka is the hitter. Excuse me, Ronald Torreyes is the hitter. Higashioka on deck. And it's 1-0. Torreyes has been on base twice, a single and a walk. Swing and a miss, 1 ball, 1 strike.
Yikes, good slider from Ken Giles. And we talked about Lance McCullers, how he needs to get ahead. Ken Giles is one of those guys, too. If he's able to get that first pitch for a strike over, it allows him to be a little more creative on when he throws that nasty slider. And the reason he wants to throw that slider is because last year, from June to August, there was a 42% whiff rate on that slider. That means barely anybody was touching it.
Gurriel to second on the transfer. Moran loses the baseball. They're going to say out at second.
They are going to say out, but between you and me, I'm not too sure that was on the exchange. I think that throw handcuffed Colin Moran.
Let's take another look, Plummer, see what we see.
So tough at first base. You've got a massive human being in Aaron Judge right in front of you, but it looks like a good feed. But you can see, I think that Colin Moran boxed that.
Never looked like he had control.
I agree.
He did lose it on the transfer, but it never looked like he had control.
No, it looked like it hit the palm and kind of popped out the top of the glove.
Colin's glad there's no replay in spring training. First and third now with 2 outs on the fielder's choice by Torreyes. And here's the catcher, Kyle Higashioka. Yeah, that's a good roadblock right there when Aaron Judge is running between first and second.
Yeah.
It's kind of an eclipse.
Yes, it is.
And Gurriel tried to throw it around the big fella. And
yeah, oh, by the way, you got to pick up the ground ball and then try and find a way to get the ball around the guy to get the out.
Giles, after allowing back-to-back hits, there goes the runner, and it's a foul. 0-2. You look at the Astros back end of the bullpen. Last year, Will Harris all-star. Luke Gregerson now saving games for Team USA. Ken Giles really had a better second half. That's a strong trio.
No, that really is, and the matchups are interesting to me, and I think that AJ's talking or thinking about with these guys, because Luke Gregerson is very good against right-handers and left-handers. Will Harris is kind of a prototypical over-the-top with a 12-6 curveball, and then you've got a flamethrower like Ken Giles that's got to be extremely tough against right-handed hitters.
There goes the runner. They're going to try and score from third. The throw is not in time. Gonzalez cut off the throw and brought it back home, and Angel Hernandez said that Chase Headley just beat the tag of Brian McCann. And it looked like the Astros played that perfectly, but Headley had a good jump.
Stole a run with 2 outs on Ken Giles. And Ken Giles is not a guy that's going to sit there and worry about the guy at first base, so that was a pretty good jump by Torreyes, but Marwin Gonzalez trying to do his best to get that out at home. Thought he had him.
So a nice play by Gonzalez to even make it close, because that throw was
Really
low,
was.
and he had to kind of throw back to the plate off balance. Now it's a 3-1 Yankees lead.
But getting back to that back end of the bullpen, you've got 3 guys that have experience in the closer's role. So the mentality is kind of nice to have out there along with the weapons they come out of that bullpen with. And we know from what the Kansas City Royals did when they won their World Championship, their whole idea was, how do we shorten the game in order to get to our bullpen? And that's what the Astros have right now with 3 closers out there.
And that's not normal. That's not common to have 3 guys that are comfortable in the 9th inning. A lot of guys talk about, well, the transition from the 8th to the 9th is difficult, but to have 3 guys who have done that role. And you look at the Yankees last year. They had the 3 guys in Betances and Miller and Chapman who all were comfortable in the 9th inning. But not a lot of teams have a trio of guys that are comfortable in the 9th. So that's a nice weapon for AJ to have late in the game.
Well, in a term we keep hearing especially in the last couple of years, is high leverage situations.
How about that? Nice little dotted fastball.
Just a wipeout 97 on the outside black.
How about it? Ken Giles allows the run, but we're through 5.5, 3-1. Yankees lead the Astros. The Astros have won 4 in a row coming into today. The Yankees have the best record in all of spring at 16-6. Usually doesn't mean too much, but better to be 16-6 than 6-16 per se. The Astros have a chance to get back to the 500 plateau with a win today. We'll be back with you on Wednesday when the Minnesota Twins are in town. The Astros scheduled to begin the week. They play here tomorrow against the Cardinals, then down in Jupiter against the Marlins on Tuesday. Play here Wednesday, day off Thursday. And then Friday in Port St. Lucie, then 3 straight games en route beginning on the 25th, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Washington for 2, and the Cardinals to wrap up our Florida portion of the spring training schedule. Luis Severino on for his second inning of work. He'll face Josh Reddick, Evan Gattis, Brian McCann. And first pitch to Reddick's a called strike, 0-1. Josh is grounded out and flied out to right. Severino has the arm the Yankees want to be in the rotation. If they had their choice, if he could locate the fastball, this is the guy they would like to be one of their 5 starters because his stuff is electric. It's a matter of finding him a consistent slot. Last year as a starter, 8.50 ERA and a 3.37 batting average against. As a reliever, 0.39 ERA and a 1.05 batting average against.
Wow. Explain that one to me, Todd.
He gets amped up.
Yeah.
He gets hurried on the mound, and he could come out of the bullpen and after watching the whole game be a little bit more calm coming out of the pen and just let that fastball eat.
Well, I was going to say, when you go ahead, if you gave him an inning and said, this is it, this is all you have, give me everything you've got, I can only imagine how far back he can reach and throw that fastball. It's a secondary pitches that turn him into that starter, hopefully, and that's probably what they want to see here is the secondary pitches that he just punched out Josh Reddick on. Be a little more consistent with that.
That's exactly what they're looking for, and he's a guy who earlier this spring actually went to Masahiro Tanaka. He had an outing against Team Canada right before Canada went to the World Baseball Classic where he struggled, and you know, Joe Girardi really wants to see him be in the rotation. He said there are no gifts to be in a rotation. You have to earn it here in spring training. So the next day in stretch, Severino and Tanaka had a discussion, I'm assuming through an interpreter, had a discussion, and Severino noticed how Tanaka was always so calm on the mound, and he has always struggled with being too amped up at times. And he asked Tanaka, and Tanaka told him he has something stitched, a Japanese word stitched in his glove, which basically means heart or composure. It's Komochi. There's a pitch up and in. Does that hit the bottom of the bat?
It looked like it got the knob.
How did that happen?
I'm not too sure. I mean, it could have been his knuckles. We know he's a well-built man, but
oh my goodness.
Wow, that replay right there looks like it went off the end of his elbow as opposed to the knob, but right there. And Gaddis isn't one of those guys that goes with the pinky off the knob a little bit, thankfully.
Yeah, thank goodness at 90 plus. That's up and in. And Evan Gaddis is hit by that pitch. So after one off the knob of the bat, that was a breaking ball, but still it's 86 on the slider. And Gaddis goes down to first.
That was one of the more uncomfortable at bats ever, I think, for Evan Gaddis. That's not good. And even though that was an off-speed pitch, anything coming up and in does not make you happy or comfortable. So hard because you're taught as a hitter to keep that front shoulder in there as long as you possibly can. And then on top of it, you recognize off speed and you're waiting for the break. It doesn't break. It's tough to get out of the way.
So Gaddis leaves for a pinch runner. His day is over. John Kemmer is the pinch runner at first. And Angel Hernandez knew he was telling the truth that he got hit because he didn't try and sell the previous pitch. Most guys would be like,
oh, yeah.
Oh, man. Kemmer almost leaning the wrong way. Barely gets back. So anyway, Tanaka has this Japanese word stitched in his glove, kimochi, which means heart, composure, basically staying calm. I don't think Bird ever made the tag.
I agree.
And so after talking to Tanaka in his next few outings, Severino has the word patience written in his cap, and Tanaka said, I always remind myself looking at my glove that, you know, stay composed, and with that Japanese translation. And now after talking to Tanaka, Severino going with his own reminder during games, at least this spring. Try and stay patient on the mound and not rush. Now he's behind in the count 2-1 on Brian McCann. McCann knows this guy's abilities. He was the catcher for a lot of Severino's innings.
I think that's a great story because a lot of fans may be asking, you know, what are the younger guys going to ask the older guys? How does that conversation go? And that's exactly what it is. How are you so calm out there? How are you calm in a situation, bottom of the ninth inning, runner in scoring position during your at-bats? Those are conversations that are had. Sometimes it is technique, but a lot of the time it's mentality and how they handle situations.
Base hit the other way for Brian McCann. The former Yankee has a 3-for-3 day.
And that's letting the ball get deep, going the other way. We talked about the shifts early on in the game. McCann beat him with a drop shot and a bullet down the right field line the first time around. Here he just lets it get around the label and forces it the other way in left field where nobody's standing. Good professional at bat.
Yeah, that has to feel good for Brian to come in and pick up 3 base hits against his former team. So first and second, 1 out, and a meeting on the mound, or at least in front of the mound.
This meeting would be the one about what signs are going to be given with the runner on second base.
Running at first base is Jack Mayfield.
Super Jack.
Super Jack, as some people call him. Does a little bit of everything for the Astros.
Thought it was funny talking to AJ before the game, saying, talking to Jack Mayfield, he goes, oh boy.
Line drive, base hit into right center field. Around third comes Kemmer. He's going to score. It's now a 3-2 game on the RBI base hit by Yuli Gurriel.
Another professional at bat by a guy who understands how to drive runners in. Yuli not trying to do too much against the power pitcher Severino. Gets a pitch up, decides to just go ahead and rip this one over the second baseman's head. That was a beautiful piece of hitting. Driving in a run. You'll notice some of the heavy RBI guys around the league, especially guys like Miguel Cabrera, they don't necessarily sell out, but they really try and stay back up the middle of the field where there's a little more open space to drive those runners in.
It's actually a science, and it's a thing of beauty to watch a guy like Miguel.
Yeah.
When he gets in those RBI modes and he's just playing with the middle of the field, he can do it as well as anybody. 0-1 the count to Colin Moran. He drove in the first run of this game for Houston. Made it a 2-1 game at the time. Now he has a chance to tie it. Picked up a sac fly back in the second inning. He's also grounded out.
Well, getting back to Super Jack, it's just kind of funny. You know, you have these minor league guys that come over every once in a while. They don't know when they're coming, but apparently there was a conversation between AJ and Jack, and he said, hey, Jack, if you go out there and win me the ball game today, I'll bring you back tomorrow. he ended up scoring the winning run the day before, or making a play to end the game, something like that. He comes back the next day, and we saw it on our telecast the last Friday, got the game-winning knock.
That's right. Here he is.
Do good things. You keep coming back.
He is not left. Jack David Mayfield. They list him at 5'11", 196 out of University of Oklahoma. Split time last year between Corpus Christi and Fresno. 33 games for the Hooks, 45 games for the Grizzlies. It's now 3-1. Astros mounting a little rally here against Luis Severino. J.D. Davis on deck. He's already 2 for 2. Swing and a miss. 3 balls and 2 strikes. His changeup's around 89.
That's exactly what that was right there in a 3-1 count where you're sitting on 95 plus. Pull the string.
Gurriel on the move. Fly ball into right center field. Moving over is Hicks, and he can't make the play. Scoring is Mayfield. Gurriel and Moran are both at second base. Now Moran heading back to first with a head-first slide. He is back safely. So Moran has tied the game at 3. For a moment, the Astros had 2 runners at the same bag.
That is promising for the Houston Astros. Seeing Colin Moran getting a hang of it. Might have been a changeup again in the 3-2 count, but able to drive it just out of the reach of Aaron Hicks. Hits off the glove. Yuli Gurriel was as far as he could go, but when he saw Hicks have a chance to catch it, was going back to first base, saw the drop, went to second base, but I think Colin Moran was anticipating Yuli making that turn to third.
Sometimes you'll see the advanced runner head to third knowing he's being pushed, but Yuli was like, you please go back to first. This is
I'm
my
not going
bag.
anywhere.
I mean, I am right here. I'm very happy at second base. Appreciate it, but you have to head back. Here's J.D. Davis. Astros have tied the game. 3 runs, 9 hits for
People
Houston.
don't know how much.
Big swing, no contact from J.D. Davis, who is 2 for 2. Both hits to right field. Single in the second and a single in the fifth.
He was trying to put that hanging breaking ball in Jeff Luno's office out there and left.
Wind today is blowing out 4 left-handed hitters to right. And there's a ball in the air, well hit. Aaron Hicks all the way back, looking up to the wall, and he makes the catch against the fence. Hicks, who couldn't make the play on the Moran sinking line drive, ends up making a great catch to rob J.D. Davis of at least 1 RBI, maybe 2.
That was a great play. It's so tough to give up. I mean, not to give up when you're out there in center field. There's a lot of real estate. The wind is blowing. You know that. You're playing in a foreign ballpark, but gave it up in order to make that play. That was great. Almost doubled off Yuli.
Tremendous play to keep this game tied at 3 and robbing J.D. Davis of a 3rd hit. Here's Teoscar Hernandez. He's looking for a 3rd hit today and fouls 1 back. So the Astros putting some good at-bats on Luis Severino in this inning. Base hits by Brian McCann, Yuli Gurriel, and Colin Moran after Evan Gattis was hit by a pitch, and J.D. Davis almost made it 4 straight hits. But he was robbed by Aaron Hicks.
Well, you'd mentioned that command is an issue for Severino, and that doesn't necessarily mean that he's walking the world. Sometimes you can be ineffective in the zone, throwing too many good strikes to hit, and that's what it looks like the Astros are taking advantage of in this inning.
Pitch misses. It's 1-1. That ball was really carrying too. J.D. Davis hit that ball very well to right center field. That ball is slicing towards the crowd and will reach the stands.
Yeah, you almost get the feeling that right-handed hitters are forcing the ball that way because they know the wind's blowing out that way.
JD's had some impressive at-bats this spring.
He has.
And we've, seen him get some extra ABs with Alex Bregman in the World Baseball Classic, but he's been one of those guys. You'll remember his name after this spring.
Dude, I preach that all the time. Make him remember your name, because these are some extremely long seasons. Things happen throughout the course of the season. Always an opportunity, but if you leave a good impression on that coaching staff later in the season, then they do have to make a roster move. They are going to remember what you did in spring training and how you approached.
And the reality is we have already seen 13 cuts from 57 to 44. JD Davis still getting his playing time. 2-2 pitch, line drive up the middle, base hit. Being waved around third is Gurriel. The throw from Hicks is in time. Out at home plate is Yuli Gurriel. Hicks robs JD Davis of a double and now throws out Gurriel to end the inning. What a back-to-back defensive combination by the Yankee center fielder. Astros tied at 3 thanks to the defense of Aaron Hicks. Time now to check in with Julia Morales.
Evan, in spring training, you guys want to see pitches, but I can imagine some of those up and in like that to end your day. A little uncomfortable in your last at bat.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad it happened now, so I can kind of at least get used to it. But yeah, like just seeing some pitches, trying to get your comfort, seeing 90, whatever, upper 90s again, and just kind of getting your swing fine-tuned and hopefully have a good start to the season.
For you, I know that throwing something you're starting to do now, maybe getting into that. Where are you in your progress as far as getting behind the plate and playing in some games?
I'm game ready. Went 6 innings 2 days ago in Fort Myers, so it's just trying to catch as many guys as I can before camp, and then just kind of see where we're at. Throwing, nobody's attempted to run on. I think Juan Centeno had like one attempt, and then me and McCann, I don't think anybody's attempted to run really. So other than today with the first and third play, but so it'll be good to kind of get somebody trying to steal and throw in in a game situation.
Like a game. Well, for you and your backup catcher role, obviously you did a lot of it last year, but seems I've heard through the grapevine you're working pretty hard on it this spring training. Why is that?
I just want to get better at it. This is a good time to do it to kind of find some weaknesses, and I could be a better defender. I could receive and block better, and I just really want to work on it. And it's been really fun working on it with Tony D and Skipper and Bailey, our coaches. So, well.
A lot of people don't know how much work that catchers put into it. What time do you guys get here in the morning?
Early, especially early in spring training. It was 6 o'clock or something, and I know a lot of guys are in here early.
And probably here late, too.
Right, yeah. It's a lot of hours, but it's fun work.
How do you think the team's coming together with just a couple weeks to opening day?
Excellent. I just can't wait to get everybody back from the World Baseball Classic and just have like one, all of our guys here. It'll be exciting, and best of luck to them. But I'm just, I don't know, excited to get going.
Get it going. Well, good luck the rest of the spring, and thanks for the time today.
All right, thanks, Julia.
All right, Julia, thank you. Chris Devenski-Devo with the strikeout to start the 7th inning as he gets Tyler Wade. First batter he faces.
Devo, great numbers last year. That whip under 1. Anytime AJ called on him, he took the baseball and went out there and pitched well. Fastball, changeup, breaking ball.
Invaluable member of the bullpen last year.
Well, he's one of the unique guys in spring training that they will actually stretch out, even though he's going to start the season in the bullpen. He can be that swing guy that maybe gives you a spot start every now and then, but there were opportunities last year where he threw 3+ innings out of the bullpen. Pretty impressive.
Not only was he Houston Baseball Writers Association of America Rookie of the Year, he was also named Pitcher of the Year. And there's a line drive, base hit. Clint Frazier getting his first at bat and singles into center field. Frazier's the guy we talked about earlier who was acquired from the Cleveland Indians, highly touted prospect in the Yankees organization, and he singles in his first at bat, taking over for Brett Gardner.
It's been more talk about his hair than his attributes. He's a good ball player.
Dustin Fowler is the batter. Yankees taking their starters out now. Half an inning too late if you're the Astros, because Aaron Hicks made a couple of phenomenal plays to end the 6th.
Isn't that the truth?
Hicks robbed J.D. Davis going up against the wall, and then he threw out Yuli Gurriel to end the inning. Pickoff attempt at first. You see the new first baseman for Houston is A.J. Reed. Jack Mayfield stayed in the game after pinch running. He's at second base. John Kemmer has stayed in the game as the DH, and then Garrett Stubbs has taken over behind the plate. Also, new left fielder Derek Fisher has given Josh Reddick the rest of the day off. So of the starters, George Springer still in the game. Colin Moran still in the game, and J.D. Davis and Teoscar Hernandez. There's a swing and a miss. Devenski ahead, no balls and 2 strikes. There goes the runner, line drive, hook foul. Astros and Yankees tied at 3. Lance McCullers Jr. pitched 3 2/3 innings, followed by Dion Diaz with an inning and a third. Ken Giles an inning, and now Chris Devenski in his first inning of work. Still had nothing in 2 on Dustin Fowler. There goes Frazier, swing and a miss. The ball gets away from Stubbs. And Fowler will live on the strikeout. Frazier into second base. Actually, a runner was on first, so Fowler not allowed to take first base, even though the runner was on the move, so he's out. And Frazier, since he was running before the pitch, will get credited with a steal, so no wild pitch. It's runner on second and now 2 outs. Greg Bird, the hitter. Called strike, 0-1. Stubbs really can get low in his crouch behind the plate. He's 5'11", and he can really present a low target for pitchers.
Some pitchers like that small target. Still effective back there. The Astros have seen a catcher, maybe not similar in stature, but Brad Ausmus was not one of the larger catchers in all of the big leagues and still very good at behind home plate.
Line drive by Greg Bird is snagged for the final out of the inning.
It's not how fast you mow, it's how well you mow fast.
Bottom half of the 7th inning, and enjoying the 7th inning stretch here at the ballpark of the Palm Beaches. Astros mini plans are on sale now. Pick your games and seat locations with a 15-game flex plan, or come for the giveaways with a 10-game bobblehead series. Just call 1-877-9-ASTROS or visit astros.com/mini plans to get yours today. Take a look back at the starting pitcher Lance McCullers Jr. in his afternoon.
Ramping things up, getting ready for the regular season. We saw some good breaking balls. We also saw some effective changeups that we used to set up some of these hitters to get into these breaking ball counts. A good one to Aaron Judge for the punch out. We like what we saw. We do know he came out of this ball game with a minor injury on that right big toe that he uses to push off on. Led to some of the reasons that some of those breaking balls were left up, but still something that is easily manageable as opposed to an arm injury. So good day for Lance McCullers. Still on pace to be in that rotation to start the season.
Good to see Lance get his work in, and he had a really efficient pitch count through 3 innings. Ended up walking a couple in the 4th, and as you mentioned, came out 2 outs into the 4th inning. Dion Diaz worked out of a bases loaded 2-out situation, so no more runs were tacked on to Lance's ledger. He ended up 3 2/3 innings, 2 runs this afternoon. Luis Severino back out there, as he will face the top of the order for the Astros, and George Springer getting his 4th at bat of the day. Springer has popped up a couple of times and grounded into a double play. There's G-Man Choi, who lined out for the last out of the inning to the right fielder Teoscar Hernandez. He has remained in the game, as has Dustin Fowler in center field. Clint Frazier remains in the game and left. So those 3 changes plus a few others for the Astros. Springer takes a pitch down low. It's 1-1. Springer, then A.J. Reed and Josh Reddick. In the air, shallow center. Now the wind pushing it back to medium deep center field. The wind to right center has been strong today, maybe picking up as the afternoon goes along. And Fowler gets his first put out and his first time out in center field this afternoon. 1 out here in the bottom of the 7th. That'll bring up A.J. Reed. He is having himself a nice spring for the Houston Astros. Reed batting .324. Tied for the team lead in hits with 11. Team leader in home runs with 4. And there's a ground ball right side. That is played to first for the 2nd out. Ronald Torrey is still in the game for the Yankees at second, making that play. And Derek Fisher will get an at bat.
Yeah, I think A.J. Reed really needed this spring training. It's good to see him swinging the bat well. Maybe underachieved a little bit last season. He definitely has that stroke going here in spring.
Pitch misses for ball 1. Fisher's had a productive spring as well. Not quite the A.J. Reed numbers, but he does have 7 runs batted in. That is 3rd on the team. Check that, 4th on the team. And a .280 batting average. One and 1 to count to Derek Fisher. Had his chance to play this spring. This is at bat number 26. Severino misses down low. It's 2-1. Severino in his 3rd inning of work allowed a couple of runs in the 6th inning. He was really bailed out of what could have been a huge inning for the Astros. Aaron Hicks, before he left the game, played defense in the bottom half of the 6th inning and robbed the Astros of at least 2, maybe 3 runs in that inning. Pitch away and a 5-pitch walk. Derek Fisher, a 2-out base runner. If he doesn't make the play on Kemmer or throw out the runner at home, it might be a 5-6-3 game at this point, if not more.
Yeah, if it wasn't for Aaron Hicks, it would have gotten ugly real quick for Severino.
Here's John Kemmer with his first at bat. He pinch ran for Evan Gattis. We heard from Gattis earlier, speaking with Julia Morales. Evan used the term fun and talking about the catching work he's getting in the cages. They are giving him some time in between, but he is, as you mentioned, getting a lot of work behind the plate, just tightening up some things, mechanics. As Julia told us earlier, those low pitches, knowing when to go for the block and when to try and catch some pickoff attempt, and Fisher almost gets caught. G-Man Choi applied the tag just a split second late. Here goes the runner Fisher. He already has 5 steals on the spring. Give him 6 as the throw goes into center field, and he'll advance to 3rd. Derek Fisher. Nice combination of power and speed. He's had a chance to run this spring, and now he's a runner at 3rd base with 2 away.
The outfield for the Houston Astros does have a lot of speed, and it's nice to have that speed late in games too. Creates issues for the defense, puts a lot of pressure on them. But when your wheels can put you in a scoring position at 2nd base and then have enough reaction to get to 3rd base, that's nice.
That's actually now his 7th steal. He's 7 for 7 is Fisher. Nobody else in the Grapefruit League has as many stolen bases. Derek Fisher taking over the spring training lead in steals with that last one. He's at third base with 2 outs. See if John Kemmer can bring him home. John stays alive at 1 and 2. Severino about to make his 51st pitch of the afternoon. We saw Adam Warren leave after 65. You would think Severino's on a similar count. And Kemmer stays alive.
Doing a good job making Severino work.
Kemmer had a nice game earlier in the week where he reached base all 4 times. A couple of walks, base hit, and a 3-run home run. That time he goes down on a pitch down low. Nasty delivery from Severino there to get Kemmer for the final out. We're tied heading to the 8th. Eighth inning baseball. Yankees with 8 hits, Astros with 10. Houston scoring 2 in the bottom half of the 6th inning to tie it. Chris Davinsky out there for his 2nd inning of work. We have also seen Lance McCullers Jr., Dion Diaz, and Ken Giles in this game. More on the pitcher right now for the Astros. Here's Julia.
Thank you, Todd. Yeah, Chris Davinsky this time last year, we weren't really talking a lot about him. And then, of course, his story being one of the best of 2016 and what he was able to do for the Astros. And, you know, opening day, if he were to be on this team, which, you know, it looks like it right now, whether he's in the bullpen or in the starting rotation, it would be his first opening day roster, which would be a huge honor for him. Last year, not making the team, but helping them out very quickly. He was actually supposed to be the opening day starter for the AAA team, and they were on the bus on their way to get ready to open their season for Fresno when he got the call, and then of course came up and did such a good job for the Astros last year and grew so much in confidence, and then of course working on that slider all year and tried to get better at that. And that's one of the things he's been working on in spring training too. And guys, after that first inning, talking with pitching coach Brent Strom over here close to me, I was able to catch a little bit of what they were talking about, and it was about that slider, and felt really good about it in that last inning. So hope he can continue that, and it'd be a really good pitch for him, as whether he's in the bullpen or not. I mean, however they use Chris Davinsky, he's going to need that 3rd pitch in order to become a better pitcher, guys.
Be nice if they could clone him.
Yeah.
And have 1 starter and 1 reliever. Refsnyder with a bullet down the left field line. That is just foul. Rob Refsnyder getting his first at bat, taking over for Matt Holliday as a designated hitter. That's the problem. I mean, Davinsky is so critical in the bullpen that it almost hurts his abilities to be a starter.
Well, and that's the thing. He's one of those rare hybrids that can pretty much do anything, and almost to a fault, because he never said no when AJ gave him the baseball. He's like, can you go out there and give me 3 innings because somebody was getting roughed up? And he said, yes, I can. And then he would come out there later in the season. He was almost a setup guy for the guys at the back end of the bullpen, so he was effective both for a lengthy amount of time, and he was effective in some brief cases when he had to go out there and just throw 1 inning. So there aren't too many out there like Chris Davinsky as far as stuff and mentality to be able to go out there and do that. And I agree, if they had the ability to clone somebody like him, they would.
Be nice. Donovan Solano getting his first AB. Solano taking over for Chase Headley. Headley had a nice game, 2 for 3. The Astros, who had multiple hits today before they left the game. Brian McCann went 3 for 3. And actually, the 2 other guys who have multiple hit games are still in there. J.D. Davis is 2 for 3, and Teoscar Hernandez is 3 for 3. They have accounted for 8 of the Astro 10 hits. 1-1 the count to Solano. Rob Refsnyder on first base.
And getting back to Devo, it's kind of a precarious position because you are going to make the team. You are going to be possibly in the bullpen. You are going to be used a lot, and you're going to get a lot of innings. But when you go to an arbitration table and you can't put a label on yourself, it's going to hurt you in the wallet. It's unfortunate, but it's true. I'm sure if you ask Chris Davinsky what he would like to do, he would say be a starting pitcher, because you are going to garner a better contract saying that I am a starter and I'm going to go out there 35 times a year and rack up some numbers. So he's kind of in a tough spot.
And as Julia said, I mean, this time last year, we're not talking about Chris Davinsky much.
And that might be why he took the baseball every chance he had, because he was trying to figure out his role, and he created a whole new one for himself. But he wanted to be on the big league roster, so he adjusted.
2-2 the count. Here you see the guy they call Devo getting his second inning of work. Allowed a hit last inning.
Guys, just to add to Devo and things that the coaching staff, manager, I mean, what everybody loves about this guy, mentality, like Blummer was saying, work ethic, though. Nobody works as hard as Chris Davinsky, and that's, you know, he's the one putting in the extra work before and after, and the way he takes care of his body physically. And he's the one where I heard the story. He was on the bus in the minors doing push-ups in the middle of the aisle to get his work in, or whatever it may be. You know how those bus rides can get so long, and then they said at one point they pulled over to you know, at a gas station, and he got out and he ran some laps, just need to burn some calories real quick. And that's just the kind of guy he is, and that's the kind of guy he is in the weight room, and it all you see it on the mound with him. He's just an ultra competitive guy, and that's why they love him.
And a little bit of a free spirit.
Yeah, no, I love it. He's a great guy.
He definitely does his thing his way.
Yeah, you can tell by the way he walks around the mound when he gets the ball back, some of the reactions if he doesn't make the pitch he wants to.
Solano with a good at bat here has worked the count full. Now starting to extend Chris Davinsky's pitch count up to 28 now.
Well, he's got to work a little bit extra hard too, because that delivery he has is one of its own. I mean, that's his. He's got to work on perfecting and repeating that motion. That can't be easy to do. Really falls off to that first base side. We saw early on last season, had a good fastball he could touch in the mid-90s, but he had an excellent changeup. Makes him great against left-handers, and that increases his opportunities again out of the bullpen for A.J. Hinch. Because with the struggles of Tony Sipp last year and here early in spring, Devo was the guy they went to get some key lefties out last season.
There goes Refsnyder, line drive caught by Hernandez. This will be an easy double play. Teoscar lobs it into A.J. Reed. And the Yankees put out Alejandro Garcia now in right field. The Yankees putting the runner on in motion results in a double play as Garcia catches the line drive and throws out the runner Refsnyder.
It's good to have a little bit of luck every once in a while. Not the best pitch, hammered to right, but Garcia right there. Easy double play like you said, Todd.
Alejandro Garcia getting a chance to play in right field, taking over this inning for Teoscar Hernandez. And there's 2 outs and nobody on, and Davinsky will face Billy McKinney, who will bat for the first time. McKinney taking over for Aaron Judge in right. Teoscar has moved over to play center field, giving George Springer the rest of the day off. Trying to hold up, did McKinney, but he does. He's held up on the swing. It's 2-1. They appeal to third. No swing. Little way, it's 3-1. And a 5-pitch walk. So Davinsky so far in this inning, a single, line drive to right field for a double play, and now a walk. And he'll face Ronald Torreyes. Torreyes still in there. Yankees starting second baseman. Well, now they're actually going to pinch hit for Torreyes, and Gleyber Torres, the stud they got from the Chicago Cubs in that 4-for-1 deal involving Aroldis Chapman, gets his first at bat. Torres rips one to left field. That's a hit. Around second and holding up is McKinney. So Gleyber Torres pinch hits for Ronald Torreyes and hits a line drive to left. That's the guy they look at as the potential future star at shortstop.
Interesting.
He was a big part of that deal. They have Didi Gregorius there now, but Torres in most rankings is the #1 touted prospect in the Yankees organization. Kid from Venezuela, came over in that 4-for-1 deal. Wilkin Castillo gets his first at bat, new catcher for the Astros last inning. And it's 1 ball and 1 strike. Davinsky up to 38 pitches now. And he can go a little further than most guys out of the bullpen with those multiple innings they're anticipating out of him during the regular season. A.J. Hinch is not afraid to throw him 40, 45 pitches in a spring training outing and keep him at least in the tweener zone, although he is trending towards the bullpen, as A.J. says. Castillo pops one up in the air in foul territory, playable. Stubbs does not take the mask off, makes the play, and that'll do it for the Yankees. 3-3. We head to the bottom half of the 8th. Astros all tied up, 3 runs on 10 hits for both sides. We told you about some of the rule changes coming up for 2017, and One of them includes this rules modification, which many think is directed towards the Carter Capps delivery. Pitcher may not take a second step towards the plate or otherwise reset his pivot foot during the delivery.
Watch the back foot of Carter Capps. He will lift the leg, then jump, and then throw. They want you to stay intact or drag that foot from the pitching rubber. This is not normal. It is so unnormal, if that's a word, that he has his own rule made after him.
The Carter Capps rule.
Gaining ground towards home plate is not fair.
He's with the Padres now, and from all indications from San Diego or Arizona where they train, they feel like he's going to be okay with this new rule. And if he's not affected by the new rule, I don't know who will be.
I think they're discouraging future pitchers from trying to do that, I'm guessing. But it is so unique. And he's still throwing in the upper 90s, too, by doing that. But you're gaining a good 2 feet towards home plate before you even release the ball.
It's not 60 feet 6 inches anymore where he lands. Jack Mayfield will lead things off. Jack's got a chance to keep playing at the big league level if he does something here.
Well, it's a tie ball game. He has a chance to have an effect on the outcome.
Absolutely. AJ said, you help me win a game, you keep coming back. He's back for his 3rd straight day. Yesterday he caught the final out in the Astros 5-4 win. The day before he drove in 2 in a walk-off 5-4 victory. And now he's looking at a 3-0 count against Luis Severino, trying to become a base runner here in a 3-3 game. Super Jack trying to continue to get it done.
He's the stick that stirs the Astros drink here in spring training. Our own Reggie Jackson.
I like it. Mr. March.
Dubious honor.
There's a pretty good fastball in the outer half at 96. Severino is up to 57 pitches. If he throws the same number as Adam Warren, the starter, he's got 8 more to work with. So probably a chance to work through this inning, but perhaps we will see the bullpen utilized for Joe Girardi in the bottom half of the 8th inning. It will be Jack Mayfield, Garrett Stubbs, and Colin Moran, who's still in the game for the Astros, one of the few starters still in there. And there is Jack Mayfield drawing a walk to start the 8th.
The igniter.
I think he should come back.
Especially if he scores this 4th run to put the Astros ahead. How about the respect he's getting from Severino in a 3-2 count, gets a slider.
How about that? Here's Garrett Stubbs hitting his first AB of the day. Stubbs taking over for Brian McCann, hitting in Yuli Gurriel's spot because Mayfield pitch ran for McCann. Brian was 3 for 3 against his former mates. Stubbs had himself a nice year last year in the Astros minor league system. Throw in the dirt blocked by G-Man Choi and took him into Mayfield.
Garrett Stubbs. He's out of the San Diego area, went to Torrey Pines High School with my cousin.
Really?
Yeah. Taylor Murphy, who's in the Cleveland Indians organization, actually was spent the last couple days in San Antonio with the Indians, playing some exhibition games. But then Garrett Stubbs eventually moved on to USC, and I actually had the opportunity to call a couple of his collegiate games when I called some games for the Pac-12 networks.
How about that?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. He's a good kid.
Originally an outfielder and then transferred in as changed his position to catcher while he was at USC and ended up being the nation's best catcher his senior year.
He's very good. One of those cerebral types behind home plate too. Works well with pitchers, and kind of he knows his ability. He knows he's not going to go out there and swing for the fences. He's pesky. He's a high on base percentage type guy, but again, smaller in stature yet able to make that transition behind the plate and be effective.
2 years ago, Garrett Stubbs was the Johnny Bench Award winner as a top catcher in the NCAA. His final year at USC. And then last year, very solid season, 291 at Lancaster and 325 at Corpus Christi. Combined for 15 steals as well. High fly ball into right center field. McKinney comes on and makes the play. 1 out. Super Jack might have to steal second, third, and home
Ooh.
because he needs to do something to get himself across the plate.
The legend grows.
The legend might grow. That's going to be it for Luis Severino. We mentioned he was nearing his pitch total, and Joe Girardi claps his hand, takes the ball from his right-hander, and he will go to the bullpen. When we come back, it's the Astros with a runner on first and 1 out, tied at 3 in the bottom half of the 8th inning. Sports is presented by Advocare. We build champions. 3-3 game, bottom half of the 8th inning. Yankees bring on a new pitcher, right-hander Giovanni Gallegos, 6'2" right-hander. 25 years of age, out of Mexico. And he will first face Colin Moran. Moran has a single, and he's also knocked in a run with a sacrifice fly. 1 for 2 officially. Couple of RBIs in the game for Colin Moran, who continues to have a strong spring. He's now up to 10 runs batted in and a batting average of .375. First pitch from Gallegos is a strike, 0-1. Jack Mayfield on first, 1 out. Fouled away, it's 0-2. Held up, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Bottom third of the Astros order has done a nice job today. Moran with the 2 RBIs. J.D. Davis 2 for 2. Could be 3 for 3 had it not been for a great play in center field by Aaron Hicks. And Teoscar Hernandez is 3 for 3. All 3 of those guys are still in the game. There's a line drive. Colin Moran with another solid AB. Mayfield takes the turn at second. He's going to head for third, and he'll get there on the base hit by Moran. First to third goes Mayfield, and the Astros have the go-ahead run 90 feet away.
Good piece of hitting from Colin Moran, recognizing breaking ball up, wait for it to get into that contact zone, and just rip it into the left center field. That was a beautiful piece of hitting.
So J.D. Davis was robbed of at least one, if not two RBIs last AB on a phenomenal play against the fence by the center fielder Aaron Hicks. Now J.D. has a chance to drive in the go-ahead run. Astros have never led in this game. First and third, one out in the bottom half of the 8th inning. Well hit to left field, coming on and making the play is Frazier. Mayfield tags and he'll score the go-ahead run. Throw gets away. Moran heads to second. Super Jack Mayfield makes it a 4-3 game on the sacrifice fly by J.D. Davis.
Super Jack.
He's coming back.
The Oklahoma Sooner tagging up on this bullet to left from J.D. Davis. You got to watch out for these guys late in ball games. They do not give up. They continue to press for the Houston Astros, and Jack Mayfield has been in the thick of it for the last 3-4 days. Now scoring the go-ahead run after walking. The Astros playing some good fundamental baseball in this inning.
AJ said, if you help me win a game, you keep coming back.
He's gonna ask for a locker.
That's now 3 games in a row, if the Astros hold on to win, that Mayfield has helped them win a game.
They're going to retire his jersey. It's going to be the first number on the wall here at the ballpark of the Palm Beaches.
Problem is he keeps rotating numbers.
Yeah, which one do you put up there?
Teoscar Hernandez takes a strike on the inner half, 0-1.
He's the best wide receiver in camp.
You ever have a wide receiver number?
Oh, man. First camp, number 83. You better believe it.
Where are you? 83 and no name?
83. Well, with the Expos at the time didn't put names on anybody's jersey, so we were all no names. But I was a hefty 83 running around in spring training. And when I got called up, I graduated to linebacker and wore the number 50 my rookie season.
That's good, though.
Oh, hey, you could have put any number on me as long as I was in the big leagues.
There you go. Giovanni Gallegos, the pitcher now, wears 92. There's a ground ball foul. And it's 1-2 on Teoscar. I like J.D. Davis's at-bats today. Base hit to right, base hit to right. Bullet to right center field against the fence that could have been an RBI double, and then that sac fly, which was hit well.
Yeah, he's showing really good balance at the plate. And one thing when you watch his swing, his head's not moving too much, which allows him to see the baseball a little bit longer and doesn't create more movement than there already is with the ball coming out of the pitcher's hand. And he's pretty direct to the baseball. That right there was a good recognition on an off-speed pitch and just laced it into left.
Pitch in the dirt, smothered by Castillo. It's 2-2. Teoscar's having himself a nice day. He's 3 for 3 as well. So bottom third of the order, Moran 2 RBIs. Davis go-ahead RBI, 2 hits and a sac fly, and Teoscar 3 hits. That is nice production from 7, 8, and 9.
It's something that was really lacking for the Houston Astros last year. That lineup depth.
I'm curious to see who's 7, 8, and 9. I mean, you think more than likely when Aoki plays, he'll be towards the bottom. It's kind of that wraparound second leadoff hitter at the bottom of the lineup. But it'll be interesting to see who 7 and 8 are.
Well, it's great that they give labels like that to make you feel a little bit more comfortable about being the 9-hole hitter in the American League. And it was kind of funny. We talked to AJ. He said that he might have to have a conversation with Brian McCann about moving maybe to the 8th hole.
Wow.
And the way he explained it was, you're going to be my second, 4th hole hitter.
Second cleanup guy?
Yeah, so, yeah, those are good problems to have.
This ball's hit to right field, sending McKinney back, but he'll have a play and puts it away. However, the Astros score the go-ahead run in the bottom half of the 8th inning on the sac fly by J.D. Davis and lead at 4-3 heading to the 9th. himself quite a day. 3 for 3. Getting a chance to see some former buds who he was with for the last 3 seasons, 2014 to 2016, playing for the New York Yankees. And today, against the Bronx Bombers, a perfect day for Mr. McCann. He is now out of the game as the Astros lead 4-3 heading into the 9th inning. And they will look to Yandel Gustave to finish this one out and pick up win number 5 in a row.
Good guy to do it with. Good fastball slider combination from Yandel Gustave. Pitched in 14 games last season. Didn't lose a game. Whip creeping around that 1 mark, which is good to see. The .232 opponent batting average, very nice also.
It'll be the 9, 1, and 2 hitters in the Yankees lineup. Pete Kozma gets his first at bat. And then to the top of the order, Clint Frazier and Dustin Fowler. There's a called strike, 0-1. Kozma taking over at shortstop for Tyler Wade. Gustave is appearing in his 7th game this spring. Has only allowed a run in 1 of those 6 previous appearances. That was a road game against the Cardinals in Jupiter. And it's 1 ball and 1 strike. 24-year-old right-hander out of the Dominican Republic, trying to save the game. Chris Stavinsky would be the winning pitcher if this game stays 4-3. It misses away 2-1. Astros won a split squad doubleheader on Friday, winning a game here against the Braves and in Fort Myers against the Red Sox, winning yesterday 5-4. Here's a pop-up. A.J. Reed being called off by who else? Super Jack.
He's everywhere.
Jack Mayfield scored the go-ahead run, makes a nice play. That was not an easy play with the ball drifted towards the stands.
No, and it was a good play also, just in the fact that he took it away from A.J. Reed because the sun is in his eyes. You see A.J. not with a very good angle, but with Jack coming over from second base, had the better angle, took command of the play, and eventually ended up with the baseball in his glove. Nice play.
He really has been a part of almost every big play, it seems like, the last 3 days.
Kind of a greedy little fella, isn't he?
Here's Clint Frazier. 1 out, nobody on. Frazier has a different look than he had when he was a member of the Indians.
Yeah, you can't have the extended locks as a New York Yankee. It was a bigger deal than I thought they would make out of it for him trimming the hair.
It is New York. And he is a big-time prospect. He was a 5th overall selection in the 2013 draft. And he was dealt last year with Ben Heller, who we saw earlier today, Justice Sheffield, and J.P. Fireisen in that deal for Andrew Miller on the final day before the deadline. Gustave misses his 2 balls and a strike. .22-year-old right-handed hitter Clint Frazier. You're going to hear a lot about him through the years if he continues to progress. He is a highly skilled talent. Dustin Fowler, guy on deck, not too shabby either. 2-2 pitch. There's a line drive into left field and playing it on 1 hop. Derek Fisher gets it back in. So Frazier 2 for 2 since coming on in the 7th inning.
It's pretty comfortable on a big league field. And again, give Brian Cashman credit. Some of those trades he made, he got some very good talent in return.
Here's Dustin Fowler, also 22 years of age.
Yeah, I do.
And a called strike, 0-1. Yankees have really done a nice job restocking their minor league system. For years, it was the reverse, as we mentioned earlier, where the Yankees would always be looking to improve their team and be the buyers at the trade deadline. This past year, they were the sellers and ended up really restocking some spots in their minor league system, which was already starting to strengthen prior to those deals. You saw Gary Sanchez have as strong the last couple of months last year as anybody in baseball, to the point where he was being considered for Rookie of the Year. 1-2 is the count to Dustin Fowler.
It's a pretty good 2 months when you get Rookie of the Year votes. Good slider from Gustave.
Can Mayfield get an unassisted double play here?
I don't doubt it. I'm not going to doubt anything this guy can do.
I mean, he might. I'm not sure how that looks. You'd have to have the runner moving. You'd have to catch a line drive and have it be right in front of him. But it seems like he's done everything.
You know he's going to lay out, throw him from his back, and do something acrobatic.
Well hit to center field, but Teoscar has it lined up, and he makes the play for the second out. That was well struck by Dustin Fowler, but results in out number 2 here in the ninth. And the final chances belong to G-Man Choi for the Yankees. Astros trying to get back to 500 on the spring. With their 5th win in a row, they're just 1 out away. They have not been at 500 since they were 2-2 at the very beginning of spring training. Pitches away, 1-0. G-Man Choi digging in. He lined out his last time in his first plate appearance of the game. Fouls one back. It's 1-1. Good test for Gustave. See if he can get a left-hander to close out this game.
Ball's jumping out of Gustave's hand. Last pitch on the gun here at the ballpark of the Palm Beach is at 98.
Choi played for the Angels last year, 112 at bats, 5 home runs, a dozen RBIs, 97 on that last one. So Gustave 1 pitch away from his first save of the spring and a 5-game winning streak for the Astros, which would continue their long mark of the season in the spring. Game tomorrow against the Cardinals right here at West Palm Beach.
Night game, right?
Night game because the Nationals play the Yankees in a day game.
How about that?
Just misses the corner. Angel Hernandez keeping that strike zone pure on the final pitch. Just off.
Garrett Stubbs doing his best at framing that.
So the count's full. The runner at first. Clint Frazier will get a head start with 2 outs. There he goes, and he'll have to head back. Field line, hooking, and just foul. That was close to a tie game with 2 outs in the ninth.
Oof. Choi got pretty quick on the inside corner on that fastball. See how close it was down there. Wow. Ruined a real opportunity for Jack Mayfield to make the relay home for the last out of the game.
Here we go again. Frazier will be on the move. Another 3-2 pitch with 2 outs in the ninth, and we'll do it again. Clint Frazier getting his sprints in.
Yeah, he's down there going, gee, man, I'm exhausted.
Well played. Well played. Even late in the game in spring training, you're right there. You are ready for the season right now.
Yeah, I'm sans coffee right now. I could really go for some.
There goes the runner again in ball 4. So an extended at bat for Ji-Man Choi results in a walk. Now the tying run on second, the go-ahead run at first. The Yankees fans who have enjoyed this afternoon here at the ballpark of the Palm Beaches will watch Rob Refsnyder dig in against Yandel Gustave.
Refsnyder had a seed up the middle in his first at bat.
Tyro Estrada has put on a helmet, and he's the pinch runner at first base for Ji-Man Choi. Pitch misses inside to Refsnyder, 1-0. Both teams 11 hits. Astros taking their first lead in the bottom half of the 8th inning on a sacrifice fly by J.D. Davis, scoring Jack Mayfield. Foul away, 1-1. Big rip by Refsnyder.
Yeah, he didn't get cheated on that one.
Down and away, 2-1. Extended inning now for Yandel Gustave, and the Astros will get some bullpen action up as Gustave has thrown 26 pitches. Three and one. Now things getting a little uncertain for the Astros right-hander. Low ball 4, and that will load the bases. Top half of the 9th inning, 4-3 game. Bases are loaded on back-to-back walks to Ji-Man Choi and now Rob Refsnyder. Brent Strom out to talk to his closer for the day, Yandel Gustave.
And we got a good shot of A.J. Hinch in there, begrudgingly putting that right arm up, asking somebody to get loose down there in the bullpen. I'm sure that's the last thing he wanted to do. And not that you expect Gustave to go out there and just mow through some of these guys who have higher numbers on their backs. These guys are going to put together some good at-bats. But the last thing you want to see Gustave doing is going out there and walking guys. You'd like to see him in the strike zone. And if he's going to get beat, make these guys swing the bat.
That was probably the message, I would think, more or less from the pitching coach.
I'm sure.
If you're going to get beat, let them hit their way to a victory. And in this case, they need a hit from Donovan Solano to the Yankees. Bases loaded, 2 outs. Gustave trying to finish this one out for the Astros. There's a called strike on the inner half. Swing and a miss, nothing in 2. Gustave ahead with a slider and then a fastball.
Pretty nasty movement on that one.
A little two-seamer.
Maybe that deception at the bottom of the zone, and then bottom fell out of it.
Gets away from the catcher, Stubbs. Here comes a tying run. He backhands it to the middle of the infield. Nobody there. The go-ahead run comes in to score. Gustave wasn't really at the plate to cover when Stubbs' backhands throw ends up in the middle of the infield, and the Yankees score the go-ahead run.
Fundamentals gone wrong. And again, as a catcher with a runner on third base, it's tough to do when a guy is throwing 95+ miles an hour. Garrett Stubbs does his best to try and glove that. Once it gets by him, Gustave slow to cover, but Stubbs maybe trying to do a little too much with the backhanded flip right here, and nobody in position backing up Gustave with that throw.
Now pitch gets away again, and this is getting ugly. Another wild pitch, back-to-back wild pitches. It's a 5-4 Yankees lead. 2 runs come across on the wild pitch on the previous pitch, and now Refsnyder goes to third on the second consecutive wild pitch, and it's 2-2 to Solano. It was 0-2. The Astros were 1 pitch away from victory. In the dirt again. So it was a wild pitch, and the second run would come across on an error charged to Garrett Stubbs. And now after being ahead 0-2, it's a full count, and Gustave has thrown 33 pitches. Up and in, no swing, and that will be a walk to Donovan Solano, and that will mean a pitching change for A.J. Hinch as he comes out to get his right-hander Gustave just 1 pitch away from a 4-3 victory. Instead, a wild pitch, an error, another wild pitch, and a walk, and Gustave will leave the game, and we'll have a new pitcher for the Astros here in the top half of the 9th inning.
This would be an interesting conversation to be on right now. A.J. Hinch probably explained to Gustave that you have the stuff to not let things like this happen, but it all started with the base on balls. If you have the ability to throw strikes, put the ball in play, and use your defense behind you, good things are going to happen. But the walks lead to a couple runs crossing the plate.
I'll tell you about the new pitcher when we come back. 5-4 in the 9th. Two outs, top half of the 9th inning. The Astros go to the bullpen again, and Scott Weathersby, 25-year-old right-hander, will take over. 6'1", 177-pounder. Out of Hattiesburg, Mississippi. Went to University of Mississippi and was selected by the Astros in the June draft 2 years ago in the 10th round. Last year split time between, actually didn't really split time, almost entirely at Lancaster. 28 games, including 9 starts. Did make 1 appearance for Corpus Christi. So he will face Billy McKinney. 2 runs in, runners on first and third. Those runners are the responsibility of Yandel Gustave, who left the game where he was 1 pitch away from a 4-3 victory and a save. And instead leaves down 5-4. There goes the runner. The throw by Stubbs into center field. Gets beyond Moran. That'll score another run. So a wild pitch and a couple of errors have scored runs for the Yankees in this 9th inning.
This has been a terrible series of events for the Houston Astros. Weathersby thrust into this game after the wheels came off of Yandel Gustave's afternoon. Give him credit for getting hot fast, but there was an opportunity right there for Garrett Stubbs to end this game with that stolen base at second base, because I believe that that ball's a better throw caught. Get the out at second.
Weathersby gets in on McKinney, who pops it up, and Jack Mayfield makes the play. But 3-run score for the Yankees, all with 2 outs in the top half of the 9th inning, as they were down to their last strike and rally to take a 6-4 lead. Astros coming up in the bottom half of the 9th. Down 6-4. Top half of the 9th saw 2 errors and 2 wild pitches that resulted in a 3-run Yankees 9th. Now the Astros will have the top of the order due up. Alejandro Garcia, A.J. Reed, Derek Fisher, as they will face, in his second full inning of work, Giovanni Gallegos. Actually, Gallegos came on for 2/3 of an inning in the 8th, taking over for Luis Severino. So he'll try and close it out for Joe Girardi and the Yankees, and the Astros will try and rally for a little bottom of the 9th magic. Alejandro Garcia gets his first at bat. George Springer was 0 for 4 while he was in there. Springer leads the team in at bats this spring with 43 now. Garcia's having a nice spring, batting .364, 8 for 22, all singles. Pitch away, nothing, or excuse me, 1-0.
Get Jack Mayfield up there.
Can we get?
He's a little too far down the order.
No, he's due what? 5th? Could be. Do 5th.
There we go.
Need a couple of runs.
So you're saying there's a
There's
chance.
a chance. Super Jack. Garcia sends one pretty deep to left center field, all the way back to the track to make the play. Dustin Fowler hauls it in for the first out. Well, hit by Garcia, but one of the deepest spots in the outfield.
Center fielders for the Yankees have been getting their work in. Aaron Hicks earlier making a couple of great plays, and the Astros were threatening. Now Fowler's got an opportunity to chase that one down.
A.J. Reed will get his second at bat. Grounded out in the 7th. Down low, it's 2-0. Astros sent 3 players out prior to the game. Jonathan Singleton, catcher Tyler Heineman, and infielder outfielder Tony Kemp reassigned to minor league camp. So 44 players remain. 34 of those 44 are on the 40-man roster, also 10 non-roster invitees. Original number was 57, down to 44 now, and expect over the next couple of days to see that reduced. And it'll also be good to see some of the guys from Team Venezuela, Team Puerto Rico, Team USA, Team Japan, all coming back to the Astros. 4-pitch walk to A.J. Reed has put the tying run at home plate. And Joe Girardi wants to go to the mound and make a pitching change here. Giovanni Gallegos, with 1 on and 1 out in the 9th, will depart. A lefty coming in out of the bullpen for the New York Yankees. We'll tell you about him when we come back. One on. Derek Fisher, the batter. He will face a left-hander who was born in Houston, Texas. Pitched with the Colorado Rockies 2 different seasons, 2015 and 16. 9 games in 15, 6 games last year. Jason Gurka takes over. And he'll face Derek Fisher and misses 1-0. Gurka now resides in Chapel Hill, Texas.
Chapel Hill, what? Wow, Texas. Is he still a UNC fan?
Pitch away. It's 2-0.
Gurka will come at you with a fastball. Looks like he's gotten rid of the slider for the curveball. Also has a changeup.
Angelina Junior College, 15th round pick in the June 2008 draft, as Fisher fouls one at the plate. Two and two the count on Derek Fisher. Fisher walked and stole a base. His Grapefruit League leading 7th steal of the spring. So he's got that going for him.
There's a lot of 7s going on with Derek Fisher. Number 77,
yeah.
7 RBIs, 7 stolen bases.
How about that? That is his number.
Going to Vegas.
Called third strike. Fisher thought it was away. Breaking ball. And a nice one by Jason Gurka to pick up the strikeout.
Good job left on left. Paint that front outside edge of the plate. Get the call.
Gurka 1 out away from saving this game for the Yankees after the Astros were 1 pitch away from winning the game 4-3. That breaking ball slipped out of his hand and a stolen base as Mott Hyde moves up as a pinch runner for A.J. Reed. Could be a stolen base if they're kind. John Kemmer struck out in his lone at bat today. Don't let Kemmer reach base, because guess who's looming on deck?
Super Jack.
Pitch up high, 2-0.
Kind of surprised to see Joe Girardi doesn't have a right-hander up waiting for Jack.
Jack Mayfield.
Kemmer gets on. He's the winning run.
He has been our spring training hero for the last 3 days. He does have 38 minor league home runs in case you're looking ahead. There's a strike, 2-1. Not all in 1 year, though. Astros only led in this game once, and that was after the bottom half of the 8th inning, 4-3 on a sac fly by J.D. Davis. Outside, 3-1.
Big pitch.
Tying run at the plate right now. Jason Gurka trying to close it out for the Yankees. Kemmer chops it foul. Well, Kemmer's a guy you would not be shocked if he hits one out. He hit 18 last year for Fresno, 18 the year before for Corpus Christi. Invited to spring training for the 2nd time this year. Major League spring training, that is. Now the count's full. Almost hit him, ball 4. It sets the stage, Blummer.
Yes, it does. Storybook ending.
Jack Mayfield will get an at bat with the tying runs on base. A.J. Hinch has already told him, keep contributing to a win, you'll keep coming back to the major league team.
Seriously, this is uncanny that Jack Mayfield continues to find himself right in the thick of these late inning ball games where they're tight and he has the potential to have an effect on the outcome. Good for him.
Absolutely. He's already scored the run which would have been the winning run. The Astros were able to hold on to the lead, and now he's got a chance with runners on and 2 outs in the bottom half of the 9th inning. He walked off the game 2 days ago. Fouled back. 0-1. Last year combined 11 home runs, 9 in Corpus Christi, 2 in Fresno. Year before, a combined 14 home runs.
Okay.
He was looking at hitting one a long way.
Yeah, he got the high fastball, went after it.
Gurka now 1 pitch away. The Yankees were down to their last strike. Now the Astros are down to their last strike. Curveball for a called 3rd strike, and that will do it. A 3-run 9th inning and a come-from-behind victory for the Yankees as the Astros see their 4-game winning streak snap. New York wins it 6-4.